There we go. You can all click your little button there that comes up from the Zoom for that. Okay, great. So we're going to do Q&A today, all Q&A. I'm not going to lecture. Sometimes I do give lectures to my course class, but today is all Q&A, and you are welcome to ask questions. Maybe something in the discussion spurs a question. If you have no questions now, you can just listen and sit back and absorb what's going on. It's completely up to you. And some of my former students are here, which is really awesome. And a lot of new people are here, and I know more people are coming. So, you know, kind of be late. You can leave early if you need to, all of that kind of stuff. I have a little something I'm going to read that I prepared so I don't forget some things. Oh, look at this. We have Australia, Orlando, really, really cool, all the different places that people are here from. And my writing partner just came. How exciting. Welcome, Larry. That's really cool. So that's nice that he's here. So when we do the Q&A, and after I read this little bit that I'm going to read to you, please try to do it live, not typing the questions in the chat, because as I'm speaking and we're all engaging, it's a little difficult for me to keep trying to monitor the chat, but I will. I definitely will, but I might miss something. So everybody mute, and when there's your chance to have a question, you know, then you can come on mic. So I love doing Q&A. It's my favorite thing. I don't really love lecturing, although I do because I teach a whole course and have to teach a lot of stuff. But this is my favorite thing, to answer questions, to have the dialogue continued. And the Q&A that we're having today is just like the Q&A that I give to my regular course From Song to Sync once a month. I have a Q&A, and I do invite people from the outside, but there is a fee for it. So this is rare that it's free and involving everybody. So I'm so excited to meet new people and have you all meet each other. And this Q&A is in celebration of the launch of my new course. And my new course is basically the video version, the go at your own pace, do it yourself video version of my last course From Song to Sync and more. And some of the students from that class who are the founding members of that course are here. And I did it that way because it's just the nature of who I am to do it live. Like, I know there are a lot of courses out there where you buy them and there are all these modules and they're all so nicely kept and organized, but that is just not who I am. And teaching to nobody was not really something that I found appealing. But so many people have asked me for a course that's go at your own pace, do it yourself, because they can't make it to live class and they can't make the time, and they really didn't want to feel pressured to have to come to class and all of that. So I decided to do it this way. So I think it's a little unusual, perhaps, right? A little unorthodox, but I feel that it's going to be amazing. My class learned so much. It's very updated because the class just finished. It's very new. And every so often, I'll probably make a little additional video lecture if there's new platforms and new things to add to the class, which will be included in the course. So that is why we're here today. For me, is to launch the new course. But I'm not going to sit here hawking it and selling it, because again, that's also not who I am, and it drives my coach crazy because I actually pay a coach to coach me, and I drive her nuts because I don't like marketing. I love marketing songs, which is what we're going to talk about today, but I don't like marketing the course. I do believe that my course is amazing and the best in my heart and soul because I care so much about my students, and it takes all my time because I care so much. But all that, you know, if you sell by this and buy by then and all those 800 things that people send you for those course marketing things is just not my thing. So that's that about that. And if you do enroll in the course by midnight tonight, midnight PST, not EST, because it's already late Eastern time, There are free live bonuses. There'll be a free Zoom song critique that's private between you and I, and there'll be a private consult between you and I as well, which will be additional if you sign up today. And that is from Brianna, my coach, who wants me to tell you that. So I am telling you that. Now, you can ask questions about anything music related, music creation, music business, music licensing. I love it all. And hopefully I can answer the questions. If I get stumped, maybe there's even somebody in here who can answer the question. That's what's so cool about community, right? And there's no competition involved. I always say that we are not competing with each other. There is enough work to go around for all of us. Some people who are here are not creators. They represent creators. Some people here are music supervisors and getting involved in being music supervisors, managers, agents, sync library and sync agents, song library owners. But whatever it is, we are not competing with each other. There's so much work going around. I always say even our dear Diane Warren cannot write every song that is needed for every project every day. There's just not enough hours in the day, right? So there is opportunity for all of us if we work really hard. Now, also just to tell you for a second why I give the course, I've been doing this now for 42 years as a professional, and everything that I've learned has been from falling on my face in the school of hard knocks. And I believe in courses, whether it's mine or others, because it will fast track you from all of this heartache and headaches and pain that those of us who didn't have any opportunities to take courses when we started out have. So this way, I believe also that coming to Q&As and coming to events is essential. But when you take a course, you learn everything from soup to nuts, and then you can come to events like this and really follow what's going on. You can go to the NARAS Grammy events and the Association of Independent Music Publishers events and the Guild of Music Supervisors events and on and on. And when you sit there, you understand what's going on. And all my students will tell you that when they go now, they know what's going on. They know about music licensing. They know about having their ducks in a row. They have gone from step to step to step. And sometimes if we're just gathering random information, we're just full of a mess. So that is why I do give the course, and that is what the benefit of any course is that we take that teaches us anything. All right, so now I'm going to keep letting in the stragglers, and I'm going to start with questions. So raise your hand, go to the reactions, little reactions thing down on the button down on the bottom of the screen, and raise your hand if you have questions, and then we will go to those questions and we will answer them. And oh, and look, my coach Brianna is here. How great is that? I frustrate her to no end, and she is amazing. She's helping me with my book writing. She helped me develop the whole course that started a few years ago now, and coaches me all the time. She's amazing. So let's start. I don't see any hands raised. So who's going to be brave and raise their hand and ask a question? Okay. All right. I see some now. Yay. Awesome. Okay. Let's start with Terry. Welcome, Terry.
How you doing? This is great, Michelle. Thanks for doing this. I saw somewhere that you mentioned you made the comment that you prefer non-exclusive to exclusive. And I just thought maybe you could explain that a little bit.
Sure. Okay. So that's one of my favorite topics. And that's why I put that in that email that I sent, because there were other emails going out from other people who are saying, oh, no, exclusive, exclusive only. Well, I don't believe in that. I only believe in doing exclusives if I'm paid. So if it's a paid commission and a music library comes to me, which they do often, I've done maybe 150 songs in paid commissions. And I love doing that. Like, I feel like I'm the surrogate mom and I'm birthing these babies, and I know I'm giving them away from the get-go, and they're paying me to create the songs for their music houses, or maybe for Disney or Mattel or whoever else that I'm working for. And I feel really good about that. That's fine that they own them, that they own the copyrights, all of that. But I do not believe in taking songs from my own catalog that I created to pitch directly myself and have non-exclusively in many places myself, because it encumbers the songs, right? I've only done it with 2 songs that I put into exclusive libraries, and I was really just did it because I love this library and I love the person who runs it, but I've regretted it every minute because I feel like the songs are tied and I can't do anything with them. And originally I was told I could release them, on Spotify and all of that. And then all of a sudden I couldn't do that anymore. And they decided they were going to do it. And I feel like, I hear all these opportunities for these songs and I can't pitch them to them. So basically I'm putting all my eggs in one basket. And I don't believe in putting all my eggs in one basket. I believe in all of us diversifying, right? There are non-exclusive sync agents. There are lots of non-exclusive libraries. We can pitch directly to the music supervisors. There are non-exclusive in-store retail companies. There are so many opportunities where we can have our songs, and especially pitching directly, that I can pitch directly to A&R people and music supervisors and everything that I want to if I own the song. Now, people will tell you, oh, the music supervisors don't like that. Well, that's insane, because if the music supervisors are going to a non-exclusive library or a non-exclusive person, they know the songs are non-exclusively represented. They know that. If they only want to use exclusive, they can go to exclusive places. There's lots of them, but that's not what they're doing. They are going to places that are non-exclusive as well to license the song. So they already know that. Then there's the theory that, oh, well, 5 people will pitch the same song to the same music supervisor for the same project, and then the music supervisor won't know who sent it to them. Well, that's insane. That's never happened. I've been doing non-exclusives for over 30 years, and that's never happened for me. They know who sent them the songs. They know who opens who they opened the email from. They know who they replied to. They know who they listened to the songs from. They have records of that too. And should there ever be a crazy instance where that does happen, that maybe 2 of us pitch the same song at the same time, well, you and I, Terry, are going to get together and we're going to work it out. We're not going to involve the music supervisor because that will just piss the music supervisor off. We're not going to tell them. You and I can get together and decide, okay, I'll do the paperwork. I'll split the money with you. We'll do a deal between us. We'll split the kudos. We got the gig together. No one's going to disrupt. And further for that question, there are a lot of us and they want to get rid of us. So I'm here from the perspective, right, of the creator, of the business person pitching. There are so many of us pitching. And if they can scare us away a little bit, then there are less of us pitching. And you can say, oh, well, then they're going to miss out on some really great music. And yeah, you know what? You're absolutely correct. They're going to miss out on some really great music that they don't really care, because there's lots of great music. And just getting rid of a few of us helps them breathe, because they are so inundated with music. So Terry, does that help that question? And if you have more questions, anybody on this subject, let's open the dialogue to discuss more about it.
Yeah, that's a big help. Some libraries do exclusives, but not necessarily in perpetuity. There's one that I have material with, and she's great. I think she's fair. She does it for a year, and she feels better about pitching it because she doesn't think it's going to go anywhere else in that time. But it's just a year, and I think I'm not writing stuff that's probably hip for like it's only going to work today. I'm more a retro guy, so maybe makes it a little easier.
I don't believe that, because I didn't license, but I got 3 80 songs in a major non-X library this week, and I licensed a song from 2000, the year 2000 this week. So I do a lot of retro too. I'm old like you, and I don't agree. But 1 year, okay, do it, try it. You know, 1 year is no big deal. But the thing is, those 1 years renew, and they renew without you dissolving the relationship. So you have to remember and keep track should you want to dissolve it. You know, if not, it could go on forever. But definitely, if it's 1 year, 3 years, maybe 5 years, I mean, you're absolutely correct that those are short and you can give it a try, but I still will not, because I've just seen in my career that doing that has never really panned out with people that I work with and with the few songs I did. And I don't want to encumber my songs, but if you want to, like, everything is a personal decision, whatever we decide to do. No one, not me, not anybody can tell you what to do. We can only advise you and discuss what we think is optimum. Right, Terry? But if that is working for you and you love doing it and want to do it, then for sure do it. But like, I have a student who had a situation just recently where one amazing non-X library that I've actually gotten placement from wanted to take her song in, and it's not exclusive. And at the same time, an exclusive sync agent wanted the same song with a 1 year term. But she would have had to have turned down the library. But in the end, she chose the non-exclusive, and I think she did the right thing, because she would have been tying her song up when it was already showing other people did like it. You know, so
Yeah.
you have to weigh what's right for you, and I respect if it's good for you. That's great.
Yep. Well, thank you. Yeah, I just one other comment just for that one person. I will say, for that one library owner, they actually notified me when the year was up, which is pretty cool.
That's
So,
awesome. That is
yeah,
so rare. But yes, so we
yeah,
have to say good, because I guess they wanted you to sign a renewal, and that's powerful and that's wonderful. So kudos to that library and that person. And for sure, you know, if it feels good to you, it, like, mine don't feel good to me. They kind of make me sad. But if it feels good to you, do it. Also, I will say about exclusives, if one is really only wanting mailbox money and one is really sort of lazy, doesn't want to pitch, doesn't want to learn, just wants to throw their song somewhere, all right. I mean, you could throw your songs there and they could never get licensed and never get cut. But if that's how you want to live and run your business, I mean, you know, that's fine too. I like to teach to diversify, but if that's how you want to do it and it's panning out for you and it's financially viable for you, by everybody, not just Terry, I mean, you, by the whole room here, by everybody watching, that's great. Right? You know what I mean? Like, it's not my place to say don't do that, but if you were coming to me for advice, I would tell you don't do that. Yeah. But I love the conversation and I love the subject matter, because we really have to weigh what is optimum for our business, right? Because it is music business. Like I always say, it's not music art here. This is music business. That's why we're here, because we're discussing music in the business world. If we want to create music and just make it and not make money from it and not worry about it, then that's also just as viable. It doesn't make our music any less fabulous or viable to the world.
Michelle, I don't want to hog the time, but one other thing that I would ask you about that, though, or get a comment on, is the reason that I went that way when I started with exclusive with libraries, and I had, like you, I had a mixed bag. I had some that never did anything, and I had others that were really, really helpful for me. But I was just starting in the business, and I was really green. And that's true for some of the people here. They're not used to doing deals or how they're going to get connected or whatever. And I found that experience with, well, it doesn't have to be exclusive, though. You're quite right. I mean, it can be a non-exclusive library, because I had to learn the ropes. You know,
Yeah, but
that's what I'm
that's why
saying.
we're here, to learn, right? And
Yeah,
that's why I give a course, to learn.
yeah,
And we're all here to learn. So exactly, right?
right,
And it was harder for us than it is for everybody else now, because Terry, this didn't exist when we started. There
right.
was nobody here to do this. But now, you know, there's lots of people to ask and lots of people to guide us. And lots of webinars to go to, and we can get the information for how to look at those contracts. And those contracts are a couple of pages. Like to do a license for a song with a music supervisor is like sometimes 1 page, 2 pages. I mean, it's not anything that's huge, like a record deal or a publishing deal where they're like, massive. So,
No.
yeah.
Thanks again.
But you're welcome. All right, next question. Let's go to Pete.
Hi, Michelle.
Hey,
good to see you.
Pete. It's always great to see you.
Michelle, I was just curious about this new course. Could you talk about it and say what it's about?
Yeah, sorry, I meant to say that, but I didn't read that in what I was reading, which was, I'm not going to hawk the course, but if you want to ask me about it, definitely do. So the course is 16 weeks, 16 classes, actually. I shouldn't say 16 weeks because you can take 4 weeks to go through it, or you can take a year and 10 years to go through it, but it's 16 classes. Each class is about 2 to 3 hours. It covers basically everything about music creation, music licensing, pitching, contracts, royalties, statements, everything that has to do with music creation and music licensing. And I try not to leave anything out. I talk about video games and trailers and film and TV and in-store retail and games and ads and pitching to artists, because I still do get songs with major label artists, and I believe in pitching to artists. And I think now is a really great time to pitch to artists because no one is. Because everybody's so sync crazy that the A&R people are just sitting there like, this is awesome. Nobody's bothering me sending me songs, right? So there are opportunities for all of this. And if I don't cover it, you write me and tell me to cover something, I cover it. And I think I pretty much cover everything in the course that is needed to know, and then some, because I do these live Q&As once a month, and I do every day. I have email office hours. So people can write me every day and ask me questions and get further help. And my students do send emails and ask me, for further advice. Maybe they watched something in the class and they didn't understand something. And also there's a Facebook group that's 24/7. And in the Facebook group, people also write questions. They converse with each other. My students, a lot of them here collaborate with each other and are doing amazing things. I mean, one of them started a sync agency and signed a lot of the students. And so basically I teach how to do that, how to have a sync agency, how to have a song library, how to manage artists, how to do all of it. So that's basically what I teach in the course. Yeah. But it starts from the beginning because a lot of people don't know anything about music publishing. And if you don't know the basics and you're just sending songs out without knowing the basics, you're going to get asked questions and you are going to be in a bad place. People.
These are videos that you've created, and then it's supplemented with live Q&A and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. And as I was saying before, the videos that, if you were here and you heard, the videos were created with a live class.
I see.
Teaching to a live class.
Okay.
Because I didn't want to make a module course where I wasn't teaching to anybody. It just felt really weird for me.
Yeah.
Because I'm so interactive to be talking to nobody. So I actually have a class that's in there. But the lectures are just me talking to the class. They weren't asking questions until the end. So it's me giving the lectures, but actually to humans so that it's more personal.
Right.
Yeah.
Very
and
good.
Actually, my coach is going to share the link in the chat because I'm an idiot and don't ever do these things. So there we go.
Thank you.
But yeah, you're welcome, Pete. And if anybody else has any questions about the course, please ask. I'm so excited about it. And the link that was sent privately to me, Brianna. So we need to send it to everybody. Thanks. Yeah. Oh my God. So I have so many questions here. I'm so excited. Okay, great. Let's go to KP. Hi. Oh, I think you're muted.
I'm sorry, can you hear me now?
I can. Hey, welcome.
Thank you. How are you?
I'm great, thank you. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you for doing this free demonstration or orientation. Much appreciated. I was referenced here by Gnosis. I do music with him.
Oh,
So
nice.
yes, yes. And I have a quick question, as a matter of fact, as a part of taking your courses. So in using original material, I use a MPC. Just a quick question in regards to
I
sampling,
do
in regards
too.
to
I use
singing.
an MPC.
Oh,
I
yeah,
use
I
the
have the
2000.
live one.
Oh, wow, nice.
The live one. So you're aware that with the live one, it usually comes with its own stock sounds, usually in like pre-recordings.
Yes.
I'm interested in wondering, how does that work in the music sync world with licenses and things like that, and how much of that can be used and which parts of that cannot be used?
Excellent. Great question. And we discussed that a lot. I discussed it last night in a meeting because I was in a meeting where all these people were playing songs with obvious samples and loops and beats in there that were like
Hmm.
splice. And so with the MPC, with something like that, with like Logic Pro, you can use the individual sounds. So for sure, you can use the kick drum, the snare drum, the hi-hats, you can use them.
Okay.
But you don't want to be using the loops. And you want to be really careful. If you use the loops, futz them up a bit, change the key of them, make them sound a little different. Because with them, though it is legal to use them, the music supervisors don't like it because they might get 5 pieces the same day that use the exact same loop you're using. And that's really not happy for them, and they don't want to license that and use that. So you definitely want to be aware of that. Chop them up, make them go backwards, right? Change the key, distort them, do things. But as for the sounds, for the actual like snare sound or kick sound, that's fine. You can use those. It is not
Okay.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's what I mean. Just as an example of that, like using like some of the like the pre-played like loops or certain sounds that came with the MPC. Do they use that just to sell the equipment, but then that's still registered to the original composer? Pretty much, is that what's
No,
happening?
not with the MPC. They're kind of licensable with that, just like with Logic Pro. But again, you don't want to use them because they're very identifiable.
Got it.
You want
Okay.
to change them, but in that same discussion, splice, sample packs, Fiverr, arcade sounds, all those kind of things, you don't want to be using those. You don't want to be using those. Those have, like you're exactly saying, the end user license, which does not allow for ownership. So if you're doing sync and people are asking for stems, right? I don't know if everyone knows what stems are.
Mhm.
Stems are the individual tracks, like the drums solo, just the drum track, just a vocal track, just the bass track. And you've taken loops from those companies. You cannot provide those stems to the music supervisor or the project that might ask for them. And that doesn't make them good. Also, you can't own the copyright to those sounds and those loops and those samples. And that is not good for sync. And the music supervisors will tell you not to. And in fact, yesterday, I was uploading some songs to a library that just accepted some songs of mine. And in the final acceptance, they're asking, are there any loops from Fiverr, from Splice, from this? Next question, any sample packs? Did you use this? And they were specific for every platform. Did you use these platforms? Do you have these beats? Because if you say yes, they're not going to put the song in their library.
Got it. So in other words, if you have the idea, it'd be best just to replay it through the actual musician, or of course, take it directly from like use the sounds of the piano or something and then recreate it yourself.
Exactly. Yeah.
Perfect.
Be careful. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. It's so important, right? And we drum that into our friends, So next, Steve. Hi.
Hi, Michelle. This is great. Nice to see you and everyone. Can you hear me?
I can, yes.
Oh, great. So I had something really interesting come up, and I've already learned some good lessons from it, but I'm trying to figure out the final way that I'm going to approach it. With my publishing, I belong to the Harry Fox agency, and usually it's just the little nickels and dimes that come in for streaming. But I just got an email from them that there was a German film company that had recently used one of my pieces of music in one of their productions. It surprised me because I assumed that they need to contact me first for that kind of thing. So the Harry Fox agency forwarded me a letter from GEMA, from the German Performing Rights Society, and they are offering to issue a standard license for the use. This is something I'm not familiar with. I've never heard of this before. So I was trying to figure out what the best way to approach it was. What I did do was I wrote back to Harry Fox and I asked them, is there a standard rate? I mean, can you find out what the rate is for the use? The letter I got indicated what the name of the piece was. It was used for 130 seconds. And they did get back to me like a week later, and it was a pretty nice amount. It's 3,300 euros is like the standard use that they negotiate. So the easy solution is to just say yes to Harry Fox, have them pass that on to GEMA and collect the money. Presumably, that's how it would work. But this is an area that I just don't know anything about, and I'm wondering if there are any pitfalls, any things that I should watch out for, any better approaches to looking into this kind of thing?
Yeah, I think what you did was perfect, actually. Now, Harry Fox, just so you know, is not your publisher. They are not a publisher. They are a collection organization, a CMO. They collect mechanicals. So they are not a publisher, and they are not your publisher. They are just acting on your behalf. They were helping you in Europe, the UK, Germany. They have these blanket licenses where they use songs and they don't have to license them directly. But I'm curious, where did they find your song from?
Well, that's kind of interesting, and that's kind of the learning experience for me, is that I signed a agreement probably 10 years ago with a music library that part of their business is that they release tracks on compilation discs, and they get distributed and streamed, that kind of thing. And so this particular tune was out on one, and I have to say, it's not a tune that I'm even proud of. It's something that I did kind of as for the industry and not as an artist. So some of these tracks that came out under my own name, it's not like I necessarily even want to be that associated with them as an artist. And I had mixed feelings about it when they released, in my opinion, some of my worst tracks.
Yeah, but that's subjective. That's subjective. So basically, the first thing you should have done in this situation was you should have contacted the music library, not Harry Fox, because that's who is involved with licensing this. So what you did is kind of weird, but it worked in your favor, so that's fine. And it was tracked down. And Harry Fox is very good at tracking things down, so it worked out. So you really didn't do anything incorrectly, but next time I would go to the source, which is the music library.
And that's the next thing. I suspect that that's the source, but I do want to do a follow-up because I have the contact for the producer. And the follow-up that I want to do is to just email them and say, thanks for using this. I've gone ahead and signed off with Harry Fox so that the statutory license can happen. Are you interested in any more of my material? Because I've got a lot of great stuff that you can't find. So
perfect. Love it. And in fact, what I would do was I would not ask them. I would just send it. Use disco.ac streaming link. Put that in there and just tell them you're so excited to send them some more. You're so excited it got used. Don't ask them and give them the opportunity to say no and put the ball in their court. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Send them. Yeah,
Well,
that's very cool.
one thing I love about
But don't send them 800 songs, you know, send them an amount that, you know, they can handle. Because I always recommend on a cold pitch, one song at a time. But this is a situation where something has been used. And so definitely send them the other ones.
Great, great. Thanks so much. Well, it's nice to know that the system worked in this case, because that could have just disappeared. So, yeah.
Exactly. But also that you were astute enough to find it. See, we all have to be vigilant and find stuff. So that is such kudos to you. And you're doing everything right, not even knowing you're doing it right, really, but you're doing it right. So that is terrific. I'm really
Awesome.
happy for you. And that is a good amount. You're absolutely correct. So that's fantastic. Yay, a victory.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Okay, Steve, let's go to Happy Hound. Let's go to our other Steve. Steve, one of my students. Hi.
Hey, Michelle, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
I have a couple that are fall under. I have very good copious notes from our class and can probably sort through them, but I think it's one of those where, oh, this sounds good, and once I get there, I'll figure it out. I'm kind of starting to get there with certain stuff, so I wanted to review a few things. All right, now that I'm starting to get a few little placements here and there, I just wanted to review, I think this will be to everybody's benefit, where the masters, not talking about, you know, I'm not worried about BMI and all that stuff, but the masters should be filed on Sound Exchange, Harry Fox, MLE. Where else? What else am I missing?
You're not filing the masters. You're filing the writer-publisher information. So it's not, you're not filing the masters. The masters are tangible. They're the sound recording. But you're filing the information of the writer-publisher information to the MLC and to Harry Fox, right? They don't pay on the sound recording, basically. They're paying for the writers and publishers for the use of it, but they're not paying to the people who are paying to the sound recording are Sound Exchange. That's for the master owner and for the featured artist, and also 5% that goes to the SAG-AFTRA fund for the background musicians and the background singers. So that's what it is. It's a neighboring right. You could also join a neighboring rights society outside of the US, because we don't collect neighboring rights in the US, for terrestrial radio, if the song's playing on AM, FM radio. Some sync, because every territory collects and pays differently for neighboring rights. But the neighboring rights are what goes to the master recording. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So when you're filing your information at the Mechanical Licensing Collective, the MLC, at Harry Fox, at your PRO, all at Music Reports, all of that is writer-publisher money coming to you. Does that make sense?
Yeah, specifically back over to terrestrial radio, because I'll be doing some campaigns this year.
Good.
And I want to do. I think that monster song you helped me with, we did a one. Timing wise, it just didn't get done till like October 20th with the artwork and everything, you know, that they wanted. So we just did a little pre-test release and sent it to 100 radio stations, and it got play on 20.
Oh my God, that's amazing. That's huge.
Right, it's going to get a
20 out of 100. That's huge.
I already prepaid for a main campaign for this October, and I've had it happen before. My vibe is it'll chart on Billboard on some level. Like, I'm not saying it's going to be top 25, but feels like a top 50, 75. It's one of those snappy songs. So they were all comparing it. Everyone that listened to it compared it to Thriller.
Yeah, it's a great song. There's a fun song to sing success story from my class. Yay.
Yeah,
excellent.
Yeah. So you're right.
Yeah.
I don't know why I had that slow tempo for that nursery rhyme embedded in my head, but once I upped the tempo, made it a little more hip hop sounding, it flew. the whole song worked.
Fantastic. Well, congratulations. But any more question on that? I'm so happy for you.
To go back to, if we could go back to exactly what applies to radio in a sense of like, that's going to get sent to 1,000 terrestrial radio stations starting like.
So that's U.S. radio, doesn't
Yes.
pay neighboring rights, doesn't pay to the artist, doesn't pay to the producer, not the musicians, doesn't pay the sound recording, nothing. Only the writers and the publishers get paid in the U.S. for terrestrial radio. So all that will be paying you for that is BMI.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it said in my notebook, but I just wanted to double check.
No, that's awesome that you're double checking, and it's very exciting about your release. I'm very happy and proud of you. And I will own that too. Yep. No. So anyway, I'm very happy for you.
I'm in the process of recutting the Linda and I's our Ain't It Beautiful. It'll be called Life is Beautiful with Silva on it. And if that comes out as good as I think that'll probably we'll probably do another campaign for that later in the year. So I just make sure before I start dropping all this money that I understand exactly what I'm supposed to be doing in terms of, like, if I look, the whole point of trying to get them to chart is it makes the pitch a lot easier, saying I just this blah 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 blah, and it gets a little, it gets built some brand awareness.
Fantastic, and it just shows everyone that radio is not dead, and it just shows everyone that paying sometimes money to help us is necessary.
Yeah, listen. So okay, then the next sub question is when we talk about U.S. terrestrial radio. What about Sirius? Because it'll get pitched to Sirius too, a lot of different stations.
Same thing, Sirius. Sirius is non-interactive.
News radio. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
BMI pays that. And it's great money. Actually, Sirius, that's like great serious money. That is a great way to go. Definitely.
I will remember
music on Sirius.
Money. Mm-hmm. Now, and so we'll probably focus picking out 7 or 8 stations that play those types of songs and like individually go at them as you taught us to. Okay, my next question is, as I move forward, like my catalog's on like 200 something songs, and it's 98% work for hire. I own all of it. As I move forward, just to make friends, to broaden networking, to save money, the plan will be a lot more co-writing and sharing with artists, stuff like that. So my question is, let's say you work with a co-writer and you get a cut of something. And then 6 months later, you're like, you know what? I want to take those stems and go in a totally different direction with it and completely remake the master into something else on my nickel. How does that ownership structure work? If I pay for a totally new master, do I own 100% of the master? Or is that something that has to be predetermined with the co-writer in the docs before we even...
Okay, so if you make a new master, you own it. And anybody can make a new master. Like if I have my partner Larry here, and if I make a new master, if we have made the original one or he makes a new master, that's his master. If I have nothing to do with it, right? So that's just how it works. I mean, in terms of the sound recording, anybody can make a new sound recording, and they would be the one who would. So it depends. If I made the sound recording myself originally, then I would own it. And if I made the sound recording and remixed it, then I would still own it. But if you made a sound recording with somebody, you own the original one together, but then you redid it, you would own it. However, the writing and publishing shares stay the same. You can't take their writers and publishers away. So we're just talking the sound recording.
Right. Copy that. That's also in the notebook.
Yeah.
So far,
and there could be a million sound recordings for one composition.
It's been my understanding that it just goes, I go make a different sound recording. The writers publish, they still get their fair cut.
However, I would say to you that in order to, be nice, you might just want to tell them you're doing it. You don't need their permission, but you might want to say, I'm going to make it here. I mean, I tell that to people a lot of times when I produce something. Hey, if you don't like it, you can make another one. I like it, but if you don't like it, record another version of the song. It's okay. You can do that.
Okay. And then my final question is, it's something you just brought up. and again, have pretty detailed and copious notes, but I find as I get older, my memory, notes or no notes, gets worse.
Okay, let's go move faster because there's a lot of other people who want to ask questions. So go for it.
Pitching to A&R versus pitching to music soups. How is it different? What is the best approach?
Okay, so we talked about that in class, but since we're in a forum where not everyone was in our class, it's almost the same approach. So you basically are going to write them a letter, be very polite, find out things about what they've done, talk about them, not you. You're going to find out within the A&R registry, you can buy that book to find out their information. You can look online and you want to pitch a song to Beyonce and maybe you want to co-write with her. So you look and find out who's her A&R person, who's her manager, who's her publisher, who's her agent, and you can pitch directly to them. It's the same thing.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the same way. The key to pitching directly is being polite, thanking them for their time, saying, I hope that you find this well, talking about them, and I love that you worked on this project and it inspired me so much. The key is not to talk about you. Like
I know. 80. I do the 80. Every time I write a pitch, so I do the 85-15 rule.
Yeah,
85 on me, and I'm starting to move my stuff to a little ... line underneath with 4 bullet points about Happy Hound rather than even referencing the thing. So it's just done.
Put in a link to your bio. You know, you don't need to talk about yourself. You know, you just put in links to your bios.
Agreed. That's it for me.
They already know
Wow.
if we're pitching them songs, who we are. We're representing songs. They already get that. We don't have to sit there and tell them that. So yeah, so you're doing great, and I'm proud of you. Very proud of you. Yeah, awesome. You've learned lots.
You're right.
Stuff.
It's a business and it ain't easy. You just kind of got to grind through it every day.
Yeah, but you're doing great. You learned so much. I mean, you know, I'm so proud of you. That's so fantastic. Yeah. Excellent. Let's go, speaking of Linda and your one of your collaborators, let's go to Linda's question.
First of all, I want to say to the people on this call who have not taken courses that Michelle's course is the only course you need. I took 2 other very expensive courses, not worth the money. Everything I needed to know came from Michelle. Every bit of help that I needed came from Michelle. So if you're thinking about this course versus other courses, you don't need any other course. I promise you. Okay.
Thank you.
Well, it's true. I mean, it's very true. Okay, streaming. You said something about when we write our disco emails that you should be able to stream. So I send an MP3. Should I also send the streaming?
No, the MP3 automatically streams on Disco. That's
okay.
The cool thing about Disco. So when you upload the MP3 to Disco, it automatically streams and should be able to be downloaded. So you want to make sure both can happen. There are occasions when you might only stream and not download. No MP3 is available to download, and that is what is not good. But in general, you usually don't have to do anything. When you upload the MP3, both things are available when someone opens the Disco file.
Great.
That's really awesome. Yes.
Great. And do you know about Sales Navigator on LinkedIn?
No, I've never used Sales
Okay,
Navigator. Tell us.
You pay for it by the month, and there was a free month, and I said, oh, well, let me see if I need this. So I went through and I found a whole bunch of music supervisors that I didn't know, but I don't feel good talking to them on LinkedIn. So I realized I don't think this is for me or for our music business, but I actually turned it over to my husband, and it was very valuable for another business.
Well, you know that I have 11,000 plus connections on LinkedIn, and I use it all the time to pitch songs.
And you don't need the fancy extra money.
I paid the extra. I'm not sure it was called Sales Navigator, but I paid for premium for a while, and it didn't make a difference.
Okay, no, premium is different.
Okay, so, but finding the music supervisors, yeah, definitely contact them on LinkedIn. Definitely make friends with them on LinkedIn and definitely connect with them. LinkedIn is for business. So I'm not sure why you decided not to, because for sure in our course, we discussed all about LinkedIn and that it's a great tool for you to make connections.
Yeah, I like LinkedIn, but I didn't need this advanced
No, I don't
fancy.
think you need that because
Right,
it's easy to find the music supervisors on LinkedIn.
right. I had most of them anyway, because I did a year and a half of research.
Right.
As per my song with Steve, is he allowed to use the stems from the song that we did together?
No,
Or-
not if you paid for them. If you
Yeah.
don't pay for it, then no, you have to own it together. He can
So-
replace it completely and use other pieces from it.
Okay, that's what I wanted to know. And that's it. But again, people, if you need a course, this is the course to take. And I'm
Thank
done.
you so much. I really appreciate that, Linda. Really, no, because you did take a bunch of other courses, and so that makes
And
me really.
wasted a lot of money. If
No,
I had known
I
about
don't
you
know.
earlier.
Learn from everything. We do learn something from everything.
Well, I've met a couple collaborators,
Right,
which I've
that's
been working
great.
with forever. That was good. But other than that, just not the right information. I didn't feel comfortable. I didn't feel comfortable to pitch after I took those classes. So
Right, I understand. And well, that's why I teach the courses so that people are comfortable in pitching and look, there's Linda, there's Steve, just for people to see that it really, I'm Shake, who's here, who's my biggest star, who's getting all these cuts and placements and things. So it can be, it can, thank you, Linda, because, we have to learn from soup to nuts to feel confident to contact these people. Because if not, they're going to stump us and then they're going to send us packing because they're going to see we're not educated. So
exactly.
yeah. So
Oh, and my last thing, I found the hand not on reactions. I found it in the participants because
that's interesting.
yeah, I
Wow.
thought I should pass that on.
Yeah, I see it in the reactions, but if you found it wherever you found it, that's perfect. Thank you, Linda.
You're
Perfect.
welcome.
Perfect. Okay, excellent. So next, let's go here to, I see Kate. She's had her hand up for a while. Hi, Kate.
Hi.
And I'm going to answer every question, so don't worry that you're not going to get questions answered. Yeah.
Well, I was wondering, should we be using pseudonyms if we work in more than one style? Like if I have a classical composition and then a rock thing, do I need to say that my name is someone else for the classical thing or for the rock thing so that I don't sound like because I heard that it's better to work in one specific genre. And I don't know if that's really true or not.
Okay, so that is an awesome question, and that really varies. It's funny, I was teaching in a class the other day at a university, and that question got asked. So I wear many genre hats and have had success in many genres, and my writing partner who is here, we write everything and write country songs and pop songs and rock songs and all kinds of singer-songwriter stuff. And we did a bunch of Latin songs for a TV show and like just whatever, right? There are some people who don't like that. Like they think if you say, oh, well, I actually work in all these genres, they get like uppity, like, oh, that's impossible and you can't really do that and blah, blah, blah. So that does happen. But there are other people who find that really awesome and want to hire you because you do all that, right? So I don't think I don't use a pseudonym for every different genre that I work in, but I do try to feel out maybe the person who's contacting me and see if they have an issue with you doing too many things, and then just tell them what you'd like to do. Like you don't have to say, oh, I only work in this genre, but you can say, I've been seeing a lot of kudos. I've been getting a lot of placements doing up-tempo EDM pop. So I'd like to suggest that I do some of that for you.
Okay.
So you can do that, right? I'd like to suggest that I do some classical for you. I think that maybe that would be really a great collaboration between the two of us. Rather than saying I do this, and rather than saying I don't do this and this, maybe suggest. Know what I mean?
Okay.
That just happened to me actually a few weeks ago, and some music library, was really nasty about it, And
That's
they
what
were
I was
like,
worried
well, why
about.
don't you just tell me what it is that you want to do for us? So then I just said, okay, I want to do up-tempo EDM pop for you.
Okay.
Oh, great. Now we understand what you do. I think it's really small-minded, but, you have to feel people out. So, because what you're saying is a total possibility, and it does happen. And then some people will always only hire you to do up-tempo music or come to you for that. And some people will only remember that you did singer-songwriter stuff and come to you for that. And sometimes they pigeonhole you even though you can do other stuff. Anyway, so I say the key is just be happy you got the gig, right?
Okay.
If they come to you and they think you're good making R&B music, awesome, right?
Right.
But does that help? I don't think you need to create pseudonyms for everything.
Okay, that helps a lot because I think, well, if I approach a library and I have more than one style, maybe that's off-putting. If you don't know them already, it's hard to feel the person out. If you have contact with them, then you can sort of get a sense of maybe what they're looking for or do some research on what they've used in the past.
You should always do research right on. So
Yes.
you can see what does their library hold, and in your pitch letter, you want to talk about that because you're talking about them. And you want to say, it's so awesome. I see you do all this classical music and trailer music. And, and I also see you do some pop music. And so I'd like to suggest that I do that with you.
Okay.
Right?
Cool.
Know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right.
Right. But I wouldn't, well, I usually do say I work in all these genres, and then sometimes they are not nice.
Okay. Well, I'll keep that in mind.
It's not nice. You know what I mean? Like sometimes people want to cut us down and they're just not nice. And that's just how it is. We have to keep brushing them off and moving forward. Like even for me, like you would think maybe they'd be nice to me now, but sometimes they're not so nice.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but it's great. Great, important question. And yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so
Welcome.
much.
Let's go to Patricia. Hello, my little star, Patricia. How are you?
Michelle, hi everybody. Thank you so much for doing this. It's nice to see you.
And you always. I'm so excited. Patricia's one of my former students, and she has built a whole catalog of amazing songs. She's getting them in libraries, and she has this incredible musical theater piece up called The Path to Catherine, which is behind her. You can see her logo, and that is an immense feat. So proud of you.
Thank you so much. First, I want to echo what Linda says. You really don't need any other course other than Michelle's. Linda and I met in a course, and after it, I also had no idea what to do. And, it was a very involved course that took 6 months. And we met like 6 or 8 hours a week, and I still didn't know what to do. So I highly recommend Michelle.
Thank you.
And she called me a former student, but I'm always a student.
Thank you. I love that. Yeah, Patricia is one of the people who always sends me songs and writes me and asks them for information. And I encourage that from everybody that are my students, for sure. It doesn't just like the course is over and then they go away. So I love that.
Yeah, she doesn't just drop you afterward. I have one simple question because something you just said. Do you actually send a disco link through a LinkedIn message?
No, because I want to use the disco system, like we learned how to write the email through the disco.
Yeah. Okay.
Not, I can't tell if they engaged in it. If you just copy and paste the disco link into an email, into LinkedIn, into something like that, then we have no idea if they ever streamed it or downloaded it or did anything with it. We won't know. So I do not do that. But on LinkedIn, I do try to connect with them. And I do send them links to my bio, to my website where there's a million songs. I do that. I send links. But not the disco link. I've actually not done that. I mean, okay. You can if you want to. If you made a special playlist.
Yeah, assign a URL.
Person, right, a special URL that you only use for that person, and then it were accessed, you would know, right? So you could do that.
But you would need their email address to do that.
Well,
So
yeah.
you might as well be sending them an email.
But if you are cold pitching somebody on LinkedIn that you're just trying to connect with, they do allow you a 300 character mail, right? So it says, do you want to send them? And you could quickly, in a quick message, send them, put in the link. So you could technically do it, for sure.
So what you do is you just say hi, and I admire your work. I know you worked on this and that, and then have a nice day, and you put a link to your website.
I put the link to my website, but you could, like we're saying, I actually have not put in a disco link, but now thinking about it and brainstorming with you, you could, because you don't have a lot of characters, but you could be very quick, very brief. Say, I really believe in this song. Here's the disco link. So you could write a very abbreviated email on that LinkedIn initial trying to connect pitch. And of course, the cool thing about LinkedIn is they see what you do because your page has hopefully your bio and tells what you do and who you are and has your links. So actually, I think it's a cool idea. Why not? Go for it.
Well, except that the only way you could track it is by assigning a URL, and Disco will only do that if you've entered them as a contact with their email address.
Well, no, but what I'm saying to you is if you make them a special playlist and
with their name on it,
only for them, you won't get the response that Jane Doe has downloaded, but you'll see someone downloaded, and it has to be that person because you only made that playlist for them.
Cool.
So brainstorming here with you, I think totally is a good idea and totally works.
I wanted to follow up something that I shared a couple of months ago, and I've been doing, and it's been super helpful. I told you about this thing called Apollo.io, and you sign up for it, and it connects with your LinkedIn account. And then when you look for somebody.
Oh, you're muted, Patricia. You muted yourself.
That's weird. I wanted to kind of show y'all how it worked. So what I did was I looked up Stefan Pine. Oh, I know what I did. There's two things I want to tell you. There's Hunter.io, and Hunter works if you're contacting somebody like at Disney.com. They have to work for some place that's pretty big and that you would know that it's Disney.com, but it would tell you whether it's, Stefan Pine or S Pine or Stephen P. It would tell you that.
Yeah, so you can use that. For me, it takes 10 seconds to just troubleshoot it myself on an email.
Well, right. But then when I looked at that, I Googled somebody not Stefan. I just Googled music supervisor and Stefan came up. And then I went to LinkedIn and then my Apollo thing came up. Now, the interesting thing is Stefan puts his contact info. So if anybody wants to send Stefan something, just go to his contact info. And he's actually put his email on LinkedIn, which is very generous. But then I went ahead and double checked it with Apollo because that just pops up and I just click email and it gave me stpine@lionsgate.com, which I think is where he works.
I'm not sure if he works there anymore. That might be old. See, that's the problem with something like Apollo is that it's not updated. So you really have to go to LinkedIn and see if they've changed where they're working. You have to look at the dates and see if they didn't change jobs in January of 2022. And as I teach, troubleshooting with Disney is easy because everybody at Disney is first name dot last name at Disney.com. So it's easy. The same, with many big companies like that at Lionsgate.com. I mean, if we just are working our synapses a little bit for those big companies, the problem with something like Apollo is they might still have somebody at Lionsgate when they're now at Disney.
Well, but just with this one, he just posted yesterday, I'm starting a new position as executive director of TV and music at Lionsgate. exclamation point.
Well, there you go. But
Just
it
yesterday.
takes but the research and the networking is a connection of things. It's not just checking one source, because one source could be
Right, but I just wanted to share that it does make it faster and it does make it easier. So if anybody wants to check it out,
yeah.
check
And
it out.
again, I don't agree. I think I'm wary of it. I think it's not always correct. I think it's often dated, and so I'm wary of it. I would use it, but I would definitely use it as a secondary source and troubleshoot from there. I wouldn't take what the email address you find there as gospel. I would definitely check it, make sure it was correct, make sure that the company is correct, search around some more. I'm in the middle of updating my emailing list right now. Okay, so there are over 2,000 people on it. I've gotten up to 450, and almost every one of them has changed that I had. So we have to really troubleshoot using the Film and TV Guide by Rich Ezra that we all know to buy, that those of you who are new here may not know, but there's an amazing research source called the Film and TV Guide put out by the Music Registry, and you pay for it and it's updated, and it has almost everybody's email addresses, but sometimes it's wrong, and sometimes I have to write the owner and go, this person left in 2019. This is not right anymore. Because as we are troubleshooting, we can find things out using LinkedIn, using Patricia's, what she likes, Apollo, using all of these things. We can update our contact information to make sure we have those, because I've found it really interesting that in 450, at least 300 of them have changed.
Wow.
Recently. Yeah. So I've been updating, using different platforms to find out where are they really, and then sending fake emails to find out which doesn't come back and which email is now correct.
Yeah, what I would say about Apollo is it's kind of like my using Waze as your nav system.
Mm-hmm.
It works best when you already know where you're going. So it's a place that you can check things against.
Right. Yeah. So that's,
and you don't have to pay for it. You can, but you don't have to. And it will store everything for you you can store it all in a contact list. So I think it's cool.
Thank you. So yeah, so there's so many different tools that we can use for these kind of things. Let's go to the next person with a question. How about Burgundy? She's had her hand up for a while.
Hello, and thank you. And actually, Rich Ezra was the one that had recommended you to me. So this is my first time, and I've been delighted. So my question actually just has two parts. We're going to take kind of a step back to when we were talking about exclusive versus non-exclusive. So the first part relates to retitling. I think retitling works well, and I just wanted to know if you had any practice tips on that. And then the second part of the question relates to when music is submitted, as far as the metadata. In the past, I've had some challenges with my metadata disappearing, and I wanted to know if you had any practice tips on that. So retitling practice tips and metadata practice tips.
It's awesome. So when were you here in the beginning when we were discussing non-exclusive libraries?
Correct, yes.
Awesome.
Yep.
That's what non-exclusive libraries do. They retitle, and I love retitling, and I've been doing it since early 1993. When I started working on some soaps and they were taking a piece of the publishing, and I love retitling. So now with retitling, some companies use a code. So let's say you have a library yourself, right? Burgundy Morgan Music, and your code might be BMM before the song title. And then you are re-registering the song at your PRO with that code. So sometimes with retitling, you don't have to retitle it. The libraries, the companies themselves are doing the retitle, right? That way they can take a share of the royalties to themselves directly without relying on flaky music creators to pay them out. I love doing that. Sometimes they'll actually ask you to give titles. So if your song is called The Sun is Shining Today, you might retitle the song called Today the Sun Will Shine. Right, you might actually make up the title yourself. So most of the time, though, these days, the retitling is occurring by the library you're giving the song to, and that they're not asking you to provide a retitle. So does that help the question?
It does. Thank you.
You're welcome. And I loved retitling. So again, that's a situation of non-exclusives, again, we were discussing, where I love doing that. And I think that people who tell you not to do that are insane, and they're limiting your earning potential, and you're diversifying your catalog. And it is my copyright, and I can call it anything I want, and I can register it any way I want and get paid any way I want, and I can divvy someone publishing if I want, anytime I want. I own the copyright. And I don't believe that people can tell me that, well, that's not allowed. Yes, it is allowed. And the PROs, BMI, ASCAP, CSAC, GEMA, if you're in Germany, PRS, all of them allow it. Nobody stops you from doing that. And I'm a big fan of it, right? So that's how I feel. So I love that question. And if there's more anybody wants to ask about that, please do. Now, as for the metadata, where are you housing your metadata, Burgundy?
Right now, nowhere. I've taken just a huge break during the pandemic due to the deaths of about 4 people that were close to me. So I am revamping everything, and that's why I wanted to know if there was a practice tip so I could just start fresh.
Yes. Okay. So now metadata is essential, right? Metadata was when 5 years ago, not that much, 10 years ago, not at all. Now, every day, more metadata. What is metadata? Meta, a lot, much data, endless data that we have got to put in our MP3s before we pitch any songs. Metadata is essential and it is necessary. Where do you put in the metadata? In iTunes. And if you have a very new computer, Apple Music. It comes free in every PC and every Mac, and everybody has it. And it's not the same iTunes that you buy songs with, where people will tell you, oh, it's being phased out, you can't buy this, you can't. That is not what it is. It's a library storage in your computer where you put your songs, be it MP3s, be it waves, be it movies, MP4s, whatever you have. You can store it in your iTunes. If you want to put the metadata in your MP3s in your iTunes, don't put metadata in WAV files because they don't hold metadata. So you can type it all in there, but when you send it to somebody, it's not going to be there.
That's where I got stuck. Okay, thank you.
Now, you can put it in AIF files. AIFF files hold metadata, but no one wants them and no one uses them. It's very rare that anybody wants that. They want WAV files. So you just put it in your MP3. You go to get info in your under file in iTunes, right? Or you on the song. It says when you click on the song title, song info, you can put it and you open it up and you put in the metadata, which is the name of the song title, the writers and the publishers and the PROs involved. You want to put the BPM, that's nice. You want to put it's imperative that you have your contact information, and that should be in the comment box. So it's imperative that you have it. And don't do this in Disco. Why? Because first of all, that's double the work because you're already doing it in iTunes. So you don't need to do it in Disco. And second of all, Disco, when you put all this information in Disco, it doesn't always come out correctly. If someone doesn't use Disco and discards the file. Also, Disco does not have a character limit, and iTunes does, so you could be missing a lot of your information. So you really essential in industry standard in iTunes, and you have to do this to send your songs, and you have to put, what is the song about? You have to put like the gender of the vocal, male vocal, female vocal, or instrumental, and don't be binary, non-binary, because non-binary vocal does not tell anybody anything. So we kind of have to get out of that and put the gender of the vocal, because we are serving the people we are sending the music to, right? And they want to know the real gender. What does it sound like? And so we have to put that in there. We have to put, is it up-tempo, happy, sad, angsty? We have to put tags in there in that comment box so they can find it. And we have to put our contact information. because if not, they can never find it again. And many people, music supervisors, will tell you they will just first go open that metadata and they will look. And if there's no contact information, they won't listen to the song and they'll discard it. So it is learning to do proper metadata is essential. And there's more forms. There's spreadsheets involved with metadata, right? My students can all tell you in here we've learned and have piles of metadata spreadsheets. So Pete, that's another thing we learned in the class, is all about metadata and making it correct so that we can serve everybody and serve ourselves too with organization and know what everything is. But the first thing you want to do is start with your iTunes. And also in that metadata, it asks for the year that the song is created. And I humbly suggest you don't put in the year because we don't want to date our songs. And the song can sound just brand spanking new and have been made 5 years ago. And if we tell them that, they might not use it and ignore it because they think the song is old. Also, don't put in the lyrics because a lot of times you get, if you're pitching songs and people like the songs, they'll come to you and ask for the lyric, and then that's an added interaction. But if you just provide them the cow with the milk, then they have no reason to come to you, and then you don't know. I know when somebody sends me an email and says, hey, Michelle, can you shoot me the lyrics for this song? I know they like it. I don't have to ask them, do they like it? I don't have to ask them anything. All I have to do is say, of course, here's the lyric. I know they liked it. How cool is that? And I got an extra interaction with them. So I don't suggest you put lyrics there. I also don't suggest artwork because especially if you're pitching for a sync, they're putting music to picture. And if you have a picture of a sunny palm tree and the song takes place in the woods, the cue where they want to put the song, this colors them and it's weird. So you don't want to put artwork. I mean, if you're representing yourself as an artist, you can put your photo. All right. But I still don't even recommend doing that because you might not look the way they want you, they expect the music to be, right? Like I have a student, and she's an older Black woman and she's amazing and she writes pop songs. But if people see her picture, they might think she only writes gospel songs or R&B songs. They might not think and realize she writes pop songs. So I don't believe in any picture in our metadata that could cloud their brains of putting it to their picture. So does that kind of help, Burgundy?
Yeah, it really does. And if I hear you correctly, because I think maybe this is where I went wrong, is normally I would have everything in a WAV file, put all my info in the info and then convert to MP3, but then my metadata was disappearing and I didn't know why. So if I hear correctly, then we do the MP3 and then it won't disappear.
Exactly. So
thank you so much. Thank you so much. I just wanted to set my hair on fire and run screaming from the room because I would do all of this work and then it would just disappear.
Of course. That's
thank you.
But now at least we all know, and any of us who maybe were embarking on that, the waves don't hold metadata. And when someone wants a wave, it's because they're going to use the song. They've already gone through the screening process with the MP3. They want MP3s because they're small. Don't clog up their boxes, their files. When they want the WAV file, you're saying, well, they don't have any metadata in it. Yeah, but that's fine because they're going to ask you for it again. Like they're not even going to go with what the metadata says in the MP3. They're going to send you a letter saying, we really like this song, we're considering using it. Who are the writers? Who are the publishers? Who is the artist? They're going to ask you to hand type all that information to them in that letter, and please send the WAV file they're going to ask you. So you're providing them the information again with the WAV file, but hand typed back to them. So it's fine that there's no metadata in the waves.
Excellent. Thank you so much. I appreciate your help.
You're welcome. And then I see maybe we could just use graphics of the song title in the artwork section. I don't agree with that. That's what I'm saying. If you use graphics of the song, you are clouding up what the song is to you. You are showing them what the graphic is to you. But that maybe doesn't work in their brains for what the picture is for them. So I don't think you should put that. That's just my opinion. You know, but do what you want. Like I can't enforce what anybody does here. I'm just providing best practices from all the decades that I've been doing this and what has worked and what hasn't worked and made me fall on my face, you know? So that's all of that. David, you've been waiting a long time. Please ask your question. Thank you for being so patient. Hi, so glad you're here.
It's the blue button. Hey, thank you for inviting me, Michelle. I don't really live in the songwriters world too much. I somewhat do, but I had a quick question about the ISRC, the Sound Exchange. I have a library, but it's a large library, but it's mostly in the film underscore, as you've heard. And when I talk to the ISRC, or when I talk to the Sound Exchange people, they said that's not really what they do. They're more Spotify, they're more, you know, song oriented, record company oriented. So is it best, listening to Steve, is it best to register with Harry Fox than it is with the Sound Exchange?
Yeah, well, they do two different things, so I'm not sure I understand your question.
Okay, what I'm trying to do is make sure the publishing and everything I understand, publishing, writer, ASCAP, you know, all those numbers and all those accounts, I've got all that, but it's the recording itself. The Sound Exchange is for the recording, to track the recording.
Yes, so Sound Exchange pays the master owner and the featured artist. And then again, 5% goes to the SAG-AFTRA fund and the Musicians Union fund.
Right, and I have my spreadsheet ready actually to upload to Sound Exchange, but they were kind of reticent.
What rights do you own with Sound Exchange? Do you own the masters?
Yes, I own everything.
Great. And what about the artist? Are you the artist on everything?
I own, well, yes, I am the artist as a composer, yes. If I'm working with an artist, then I'm probably more in the record company world.
Great, then the record company world is the master owner, the artist is the artist, the featured artist. So you definitely want to register with Sound Exchange, and Sound Exchange will require an ISRC code for each song and
which I have.
Require a UPC code for every release, because Sound Exchange is only operating with songs released.
Okay.
Okay, does that make sense? If your songs are not released, then Sound Exchange cannot pay you on them. However, you can get ISRC codes from usisrc.org. I'll put that in the chat. And it's a one-time fee. It's around $95, usisrc.org, and it's a one-time fee forever. And you get your own prefix to make your codes. And you really want to do that and house them in a spreadsheet, because you might have some foreign sub-publishers who require the ISRC codes, even though the songs aren't released. But does that make sense with what Sound Exchange does? They pay the master owner and the featured artist. Okay, for digital releases on the DSPs. Are you still here, Dave? Oh, there you go. So as for Harry Fox pays for physical releases, physical mechanicals. That goes to the writer and the publisher. You also want to be a member of the MLC. Do you have your songs registered at the MLC? Are you?
I have everything registered at the MLC.
So the MLC also pays writers and publishers. The only place that pays for the sound recording, the master and the featured artist in the US is Sound Exchange.
Okay, but that is not until you actually have a product that's a UPC code out there.
Yes.
That was the thing that, because I'm trying to find somebody, because I've had films and everything playing on Netflix, those type, and I'm just wondering if there are digital crawlers or bots out there that can track down that sound recording number and then report that back to Sound Exchange or to...
You have to register the songs yourself as the master owner to Sound Exchange with those codes. Yes. Maybe someday there will be
All right.
doing that, but no, you have to, or someone with you has to do that. Yeah, so you have to do that.
Okay, thanks.
UPC code is new. You didn't have to do that even a year ago. Now you actually have to have it released at Sound Exchange with the UPC code.
Oh yes, and that's a whole nother thing of itself.
Yes, getting the UPC code, but you can buy them online. Yeah, for sure.
Yes.
Yes, definitely. Does that help?
Absolutely, I appreciate it.
Awesome, awesome. Okay, Luis. Hi.
Hello.
Thanks
How
for
you doing?
waiting. How are you? Good.
Thank you. Thank you so much for this. Amazing as ever.
Thank you.
Well, I'm giving my first steps here. I'm looking forward to be used in the future, you know. But right now, I'm giving my first steps here. I have some music to send, and I went to a PRO, so I'm registering a PRO right now. But when I think in the publishing side, I'm very confused. I saw you talking with Mac Freezer before, and you were really on the side to create your own publishing company. So maybe some things has changed to now. Do you still thinking the same? And the other question is, how is that? How complex is that to take by yourself the publishing? Is so much paperwork? Is that hard, confusing, or is okay for
Okay, so let's
some
start.
writers, so for a do-it-yourself artist?
Okay, so let's start with the first question. The first question, by the publishing question, do you mean having a publishing company, establishing a publishing company? Is that what the question is? I'm not sure I quite understand the question.
Okay, well, I'm not sure because I have seen these companies like DistroKid, TuneCore, but I have here they are really encumber your music. They have to.
Yes, they
They tend to put so much price to your music, and maybe it's hard to get some placement for that. So I was thinking on create my own publishing site, my own publishing company.
Okay, I get it. So now everybody who doesn't know this, right? My students, of course, know this, but everybody who doesn't know this, you have to set up a writer's account at your PRO and a publisher's account at your PRO. Luis, what PRO are you at?
BMI.
Great. BMI is much better than ASCAP, everybody. I recommend BMI. Okay, so you have to have a publishing account. You can't just sign and have a writer's account if you want to act as a professional. Now, when you sign with ASCAP and BMI, they do not require that you have a publisher's account. CSAC does. They require you have a publisher's account. GMR, they require that because they only work with professional writers. But BMI and ASCAP, they will sign anybody. And so they tell you, oh, it's okay, you don't have to have a publishing account. You can funnel any money right through into your writer's account. Yeah, you can, but it is not professional. Money gets lost. You need to form a publishing company. So when you are, if you are any of you a member of ASCAP or BMI and do not have a publishing company, you need to go to that same PRO. You can't do it with another one, where you are a current writer, and form a publishing company. You can Google ASCAP, join as a publisher, BMI, join as a publisher, and you have to pay that fee. It's not very big, and join as a publisher, because if not, you cannot operate in sync. And if you do pitch a song, they automatically know you are not professional because you do not have a publishing company. You cannot operate there. If you live in another country, which some people here do, and your PRO makes it difficult for you to have a publishing company, which they do, then you can join BMI as a publisher or ASCAP as a publisher. Again, I recommend BMI. Even one of my students joined she's from Germany, and she joined the Irish PRO because they allowed her to do it. So you can join other PROs as the publishing account, not your writer's account, but your publishing account. So again, people, please don't ask the questions in the chat. Ask them live. Put up your hand and we'll ask all the questions. But so you definitely need to. So do you have a publishing account at BMI, Luis?
Not yet, not yet. I was about it, but you came out with the Q&A, so it's perfect for this time.
Perfect. Do it. Join as a publisher. Now, the other part of this question, Do not opt in to any of those pro partners when you upload your song. So if you use DistroKid, if you use TuneCore, if you use CD Baby, if you use United Masters, whatever you use, do not opt into their publishing affiliation, because as Luis is telling us, and he is absolutely correct, they encumber our songs. No music company, no music supervisor wants to negotiate with CD Baby to sync your song. Also, you can't work with these non-exclusive libraries as we are discussing, or any library, because you've already given your publishing administration away to them. They do not do a good job. They are distributors, aggregators. Their job is to distribute the music. Their job is not to be publishing administrators and collect your money. That is not what they do. So you just do it under any circumstance. Do not want to do that. That will encumber your songs. So exactly, Luis, you have to have your own publishing company. Even if you have one song, when you join BMI, when you join ASCAP, start immediately with a publishing company. Just do it. So that is like so important, Luis, and I love that question. And now, what was the other question?
Just to know, because you have your own publishing, how is that? Is that complex? It's really confusing. It will take me aside to make music. I have so many doubts about
Okay, how many songs do you have, Luis?
I have 20 songs.
Okay, you only have 20 songs.
Yeah.
How many of them are released?
Sorry?
How many are released? How many are even out there?
No one.
Great, so you have no problem. Start learning how to do your own publishing, right? Take a course. Get lessons from somebody. It's not very hard. There are 5 main places really you need to register your songs when they are released. One we just discussed, Sound Exchange. The other, your PRO, which in your case is BMI. The MLC, the Mechanical Licensing Collective, Harry Fox, and Music Reports. Just register the songs. And I teach with a spreadsheet where every time you write a song, you go and register it. It's easy. I mean, for someone like me, yeah, it's hard because I have thousands of songs and it's a mess, you know? But if you have 20 songs, even if you have 200 songs, just do it. Why are we giving away pieces of our money to some music administrator when we're not making anything anymore? Why are we giving, like Song Trust? That's the worst. It's so unprofessional. Yet people are giving away percentages to them. All they're doing is registering your songs. We can register our songs. It's not a big deal. We can learn how to do that. So I don't believe that. My catalog, yes, is very complicated because there's thousands of songs that have been released all over the world in different territories. But I can do it. I do it. And I check every so often in the accounts to see what's going on and if things are registered properly. And that is super important. But especially if you have starting with one song and you have 20 songs and 200 songs, just don't give away your money for that. It's not necessary. In my opinion, right? Because you're asking me, how do I do that? I do it. Yeah, it's no big deal.
Easy peasy, right?
Well, I think it is. It's all it is filling out forms online. Like in the day when I started, it wasn't so easy peasy because we had to send in paper, right? My friends Laura and Larry who are here, we've been doing this for decades. We had to send in paper. It was irritating, right? To put it in the mail and get it back and certify this and that. Yeah. We don't have to do anything anymore. We just get on the little box, type in the little information. Right. Even those of us who are not really computer savvy, like I'm not the most computer savvy person in the world. You wouldn't want to take a computer course from me. I mean, I can do it. If I can do it, you can do it. Right.
Cool. So, thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. It's just, everybody, why should we give away pieces? All right. Now let's go to Pete. You've been waiting for a while. Hi. What's your question?
Michelle?
Yes, sir.
Can you hear me? Oh, okay. Thank you very much. I'm really grateful for this conversation because Burgundy brought up about metadata, and I realized there was something I really wanted to know about metadata, and I'm sure it's a very big subject, so I don't want to take up a lot of time. But Michelle, I spent about 2 hours trying to find how to enter metadata on iTunes, and I don't expect you to tell me a quick way to do it. But is there a video somewhere that I could go to where they could tell me how to do it? Because I swear to God, I tried and I couldn't get anywhere. And I have another question after that.
Okay, did you go to iTunes and did you open it up the song and just take a look? It says get info, song info, right under file. And it opens it up.
I'm not really that familiar with iTunes is a problem, I think.
Okay,
I never really used it that much.
Do it with you. Go to iTunes. Open it up.
Okay.
Find
right now?
Yeah, do it right now. We'll do it quickly. Okay. Find the song in there. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Did you do that? Have you highlighted the song?
I'm on the site right now.
Okay. Highlight a song. Just put your cursor over.
I don't see any of my songs. I'm just on the home page. I don't know where to go.
How to get to your iTunes library?
Right. I don't know how to do that.
Write me personally and I'll help.
Okay.
Yeah. Because
thank you very much. Fair enough.
In there. Maybe you've not even put any songs in there. And somebody's putting in the chat here how to automatically add metadata, but the problem is he can't even find his songs, Marie. So that's
the problem.
Yeah,
the other problem is that I don't use a Mac. I use a PC.
Yeah, as I was saying before, iTunes is in a PC as well.
Okay.
But I'll help you with it privately.
You need to download the app.
Yeah, I did that.
You don't even. All computers come with it, and it's just in your computer. It's free.
Okay.
Yeah, but I'll help you with it privately. So
the other quick question had to do with. Wait a second, I wrote it down. Oh yeah, releasing songs. I've released songs through CD Baby before. Is that the way you? That's one of the viable ways to release songs so you can get a UPC code?
Yeah. Okay. So one sec. First, I'm going to put this in the chat, everybody. This is. Oh, it won't let me do it. Drag. Well, anyone who's on this call, if you want this information, I will send it to you. I have a step-by-step guide of how to input your iTunes metadata, but it won't let me copy and paste into the chat. So just, write me. You all have my email. So now, again, Pete, say that.
Yeah. Basically, Michelle, I have released songs through CD Baby, and so I have a UPC code for those songs. Now I have other songs that I haven't released. So do I need to make another album or two to get a release?
Yeah, you can release one song at a time, or you can release a new album at a time. It's up to you. They'll allow either. If you release an album, then you need one UPC code for the album. If you release song by song, you need a UPC code for each song. And you can do it either way on any of those aggregators, CD Baby, DistroKid, TuneCore, whatever you use.
So if you release, let's say 10 songs or 15 songs on an album, that same UPC code will apply to each of those songs?
Yeah, it does if it's an album, because it's one code for the album. Yes.
But does that count for each song?
Yes. Yes.
So that's really a more economical way to go about it, right?
Yeah, because you have to pay for the UPC code, of course. But it depends. Like sometimes people only want to release a single.
Yeah,
sometimes people don't have an album's worth of songs.
Right.
So it totally is fine. If someone's asking if you have a single release before an album, and please ask live. Don't ask in the chat because I know I'm missing lots of stuff in the chat. If you have a single before an album, then you have separate releases. Sadly, they won't apply that to a new release. They become you using the song again in the album.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, and then you would need a different UPC code. But UPC codes are like $5. I mean, they're not expensive.
Right, okay. No, I didn't know that. Okay, great. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Yeah. So
I'll
yeah, so
definitely be in
definitely
touch.
just raise your hand or jump on. If you have a question and it's following up on something else somebody's saying, you can just holler. It's fine. Right.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you.
you're welcome. I hope that helps for
It
sure.
does. Thank you very much.
Yeah. And again, write me about the iTunes, because since you have no songs in there, it doesn't matter what any of us are telling you in the chat. You are not even up to that step. So
Well,
I'll help.
Actually, I do have songs on iTunes, but I didn't put them up. It was done through CD Baby.
Okay, so that's fine. So open your iTunes and go to one of those songs.
Just do a search.
Yeah, but not the iTunes where you buy songs. The iTunes that's free in your computer where you house your. I don't think you have it. So let me help you offline.
Okay. Great.
Okay.
Thank you again.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Okay. Michelle, let's get your question. How are you? Welcome.
Hi.
Hi. Glad you could make it.
Yeah, you remember who I am, I think. So.
I do, of course.
Sorry, I work during these hours, so if someone else asked this, I apologize. But there's so many questions, but I'll just ask two quick ones, one right after the other. When you're talking about, and I still need to register myself as a publisher, and I will do that, but do you only get the publisher share if you're going through a music supervisor sync agent? But if I'm with a library, because I have a lot of songs in libraries, then I don't get the publisher share in that case. And then I was also wondering if music supervisors tend to prefer songs that are not already in non-exclusive libraries if they want something that's not anywhere, or is it okay if it's in non-exclusive?
Okay, so yes, we did discuss about non-exclusive. So watch the replay. It will be. Okay. Because we did a lot about non-exclusives, but to answer the question quickly, music supervisors do not care. They're looking for a song. They are in a mission to fill a queue, and they are trying to please the directors, the showrunners, the producers of the shows and the TV shows and the games and the ads, and they just don't care. If you have the goods and if it solves their problem, because we're in the business of solving their problems. Right? If we're in the business of solving their problems, if we solve their problem, they don't care where the song came from. Okay. They don't care if it's in a library. And they don't care if 50 people have the same song. They don't care. No.
Okay.
Answer that part of the question. Now, as for the other question, answer it, ask it again.
Oh, you want me to ask it again?
Yeah, my brain just...
Oh, sorry. So, you were talking about starting your own publishing thing, which I'm going to do. I'm going to follow. I will do that. But I'm wondering if would I only get the publisher share if the song is pitched directly to a music supervisor or sync agent versus a library? I have a lot of songs in libraries. So for a song that's in a library, would I not get the publisher share in that case, but I would if it were directly to a supervisor?
Got it. So it depends. Because you could have a song in a library where they only take half the publishing, or they only take a quarter of the publishing, and you could have a sync agents usually don't take publishing, but some agents lately have been asking for that, which is really heinous, and I wouldn't give it to them. But it varies. If you have a deal with a music library where they take all the publishing, then correct, they would be getting the publisher's share and you would be getting the writer's share. But if you do it with a music supervisors do not take shares of songs. That's not their business. Their business is to work for somebody who has a budget and then get music for it. They are not taking pieces. So there's another red flag. If a music supervisor ever says to you, oh, I'm going to put your songs in this show and I'm going to take your publishing, that's not a music supervisor. That is not what they do.
Okay.
They're acting as some other kind of agent, but no music supervisor does that. So yeah, basically that's what happens. If you pitch directly, you get the writers and the publishers share if you place the song. If you have a library situation where they take the publishing, they take the publishing, or sometimes they take half the publishing and then you get half the publishing. Does that make sense? It can vary.
Thanks so much. That's what I thought, but there's so much information and I never know if I'm right, but okay.
Yeah, you're completely right. So congratulations for paying attention to what you have been learning in other things. And exactly, that's how it works. But you must have a publishing company.
That is my next thing I'm doing.
You pitch directly if you don't have one, because the minute the music supervisor sees you have no publishing company, they don't want to work with you. Because big red flag that you don't have your ducks in a row and you are not professional.
Oh, okay. I better do that before I even do one of those sync, to music supervisor pitch sessions, right?
My opinion, yes. And Mark will
Yeah.
tell you that too. If it's with Mark, he's going to tell you that too. You have to have a publishing company. It's essential. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Good. Okay.
Thank you.
What do you got? And then we'll go to Phil. Let's go to Phil because Phil's been a long time and he hasn't asked anything. So Phil, hi.
Hey, how's it going?
Thanks. How are you?
Good, good. Hey, my question is what are your thoughts on the pros and cons of sync agencies and using them as opposed to say pitching to directly the music supervisors? That's like the first part. And
Okay, let's start with that.
sure.
So I love sync agencies, as I've been saying. I love diversifying. I don't want to put my eggs in all baskets. I love non-exclusive sync agents. And I have an arsenal of them that I work with, quite a bunch of them. And every so often they get something placed. Not enough to pay my bills if I didn't diversify and pitch directly and do other things, but definitely enough to add to the pie. So for sure, we should do that. I love them. And what's
Okay.
the next part?
So with that being said, then you don't feel that like just using sync agencies alone is enough to sustain like a reasonable income? Like you find it more effective to also shop your music yourself directly to music supervisors? I guess that would be my question. And then I'm not too familiar with music libraries or what the difference is between, say, that and then shopping with like a sync agency.
Great. So I do. I think, again, that diversifying is key. Pitching directly has always served me better than anything else. Having sync agents in my corner, also very good. If you only want to work with sync agents because you want to work more passively, again, that is up to you, completely up to you. But I don't think it's the best way to go, especially in this day and age where it's hard to get placements, hard to make money. The best thing to do is to diversify. So that's what I suggest in that case. As for music, sync agents usually and should not take any royalties. They work for a percentage of the upfront fees, usually between 25 and 50%, not more. If they ask for more than 50% of the fee, you don't want to work with them. They generally hover around 30%. That's normal. They get you a placement. The sync fee is $1,000 and they take 300 of it and you get 700 of it. Okay. So that's how they operate. Music libraries are much bigger entities. So a sync agent might only have 10 clients or 50 clients, but music libraries are big places where usually they have thousands of composers and writers creating and having their music there. They take a percentage of the back end, usually all the publishing, for that share. And if they're non-exclusive, as we were discussing previously, they change the titles or give a prefix and register the song non-exclusively for them in case there's a placement, and then they collect that money for them. So they're really wonderful. There are also, as we were discussing in the beginning, but I don't think you were here, exclusive music libraries, which I only agree with working with if they pay me a commission up front to make the songs.
Okay. So with the music libraries, and if they're owned, so they own the publishing, is if I'm hearing you correctly.
They own the publishing non-exclusively for a retitle. So they don't own the publishing for the real song. It's
okay.
Retitled. Yes. Usually.
So are there fees associated with them? So say like as a songwriter, composer, I know with like the sync agencies, right? Like you'll get like the upfront fees. So how are you getting paid with the music libraries?
Yes, they often, if it's non-exclusive library, they often split the fees with you, but sometimes they don't. Every library has a different deal. Some do 40, 60, 40, some do 70, 30, some don't give you any of the fees. Some, they're really all different. So we have to look at their deal, their contracts. Yes, and decide. Now, if it's non-exclusive, then it's kind of okay to work within their framework, but you might want to ask them if they're saying they take, some part something that you don't like, you can discuss. right? Can they only take 30%? They'll probably say no, but you can try. You know, there's
Okay.
room, you can negotiate for sure. But that's how they work. And they usually take a piece of the royalties because music libraries make less money. So for instance, let's say that CBS comes to me and they want to license one of my songs for Blue Bloods. They might pay me $5,000 for the sync master fee. But if they're getting a song from a library, they might only pay the library $2,000 because that's why they're going to a library, because it's less expensive, it's cheaper. So the libraries aren't making the same amount of cash that a direct pitch would be. And so that's what the libraries do. The libraries are existing to have inexpensive music.
Okay.
That help?
So is that like music bed? Like,
well, music bed is a yucky place because there you have to pay to pitch. And I don't believe in anything where you have to pay to pitch. You have to pay.
okay.
Yeah. So I don't believe in things like Song Trader, Music Bed, Music Gorilla. There's Broad Jam, any of those places where you have to pitch to pay to pitch. I don't recommend them. I think it's a waste of money and people can spend their last $100 that they have in hopes. Like it's like the lottery. So I don't believe in them.
Okay.
But yeah. Yeah.
Awesome.
Their success rate is very, very poor. Does that help?
No, yeah, like that totally does. Cause I'm working with like a couple of different sync agencies, but I'm kind of just getting new into the whole sync and licensing world. Like prior I had produced and shot music more like on the record business side of things. So now I'm kind of switching over.
Big cut. Congratulations.
Oh, thank you. Thanks. Yeah. I mean, it's so it's just a whole different world that I'm kind of diving into and learning about. And just even how like I feel like a lot of music is kind of made, or in regards to like when you're specifically making it for like film and television and like sync and licensing, I'm just learning. So like even like on the business aspect, I'm just kind of trying to see, because I've heard like a lot of positive things about the sync agencies, and like, you know, I've worked with some artists that, you know, do to get like tons of placements with them. That's kind of how I found out about them and kind of got brought into the fold. But I'm just not sure if like how, you know, like the frequency of like getting placements with them, and if like, you know, successful artists in the sync world, like if they're like solely like relying on these sync agencies, or if they're kind of how you said, diversifying and trying to build their own personal relationships with the supervisors and stuff as well.
Diversifying. And also let's think about it this way. If we're always giving away our publishing and we're not keeping any of it, our catalogs have no value. You know, building our catalog value is also important, to own some of our own songs and our own publishing.
Okay, cool. Thank you. I appreciate the information.
But again, if you want to be very passive and not engage at all and just create and have agents and libraries repping your music, you can for sure do that. You know?
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Yeah, so it's personal. Let's go to Carol. Carol, why do you say Edmund?
I was doing work for the Jersey City Public Library today, and I forgot that I was in their Zoom. I had to enter their Zoom information to work with them.
Got it.
So I'm Edmund today.
All right, Miss Edmund, what's your question? Glad you're here.
So good to see you. Yeah, so first of all, for anybody out there who has not taken a course with Michelle, like your other fans said before, Linda, your courses just are the best. I mean, you're just no nonsense and just really deliver a lot of really important information. So the metadata course was fantastic.
Yeah, you've really nailed it. You've been using it and doing it. So proud of you for that.
Yeah, you know, I use that chart over and over again. I update it and use it in a pinch. You know, I had a question about where do you think is the best place to get a UPC on my own? Because, you know, when you purchase a UPC, 1,000 things come up and I don't know which is the right one.
Yeah, I don't remember which one I used, to be honest with you. I did it online as well, and it cost me $5. Let me look that up and I'll get back to you, or send me an email. I'll remember which one it was. But I also just went online to get it.
Okay, I'll search around. If I find it first, I'll send it to you.
Yeah, yeah. Since I'm not in the business much of releasing anything, so I don't do that much. But I did buy my ISRC codes from usisrc.com, and the UPC code was just upc.com or something like that, and it was $5.
Yeah.
I'll
Okay.
look it up.
The other question has to do with top lining and co-writing.
Mhm.
I have a couple people I've been working with, and a couple of them, it's just fantastic. We just work together really well. Sometimes they do the music and I do the words and the lyrics and the melody, and we just agree ahead of time we're going to co-own everything, the instrumental, the full version, you know, all that kind of stuff. There's someone else who I was working with who, I don't know, just said the instrumental was his, and I don't know. I'm not really sure if there's a standard. How does that work? Is it just, there's someone else, on the other hand, who did such a fantastic production of a song that I wrote. I did it with chords and a basic rhythm track and my voice and all the layered harmonies. What this person brought to that production turned it into such a different song to me that, and I want to work with him in the future, that I just said, you want to be a co-writer on this song, a co-composer. And I guess I expected the same kind of treatment from the other person, that I brought so much to their song, their instrumental, as well as rearranged and made more sense of a verse, chorus. Their original instrumental didn't actually make any sense as far as
these things that you have to discuss up front. So personally, it's like if I write a song and it's even a cappella, right? And I bring it to Larry here, my partner Larry here, right? You work with Larry, right? I believe I'm hiring him, I'm paying him. The song is written, right? But if he's writing lyrics and changing the melody and has the ability to do that, well, then he's a writer on it. And we have to discuss that up front. What is his capability and his capability on this thing? He might not even want that. He might just get paid. But you have to discuss that up front, Carol. So if somebody, I don't agree with to share the writing credit with a person who didn't write the song just because they contributed to the arrangement, because that's arranging. That is not songwriting.
Okay.
So I don't agree with the practice, and I don't agree that person should have done that with you. Somebody's very noisy. You have to please mute whoever that is. He's very noisy there. But does that make sense, Carol? You know?
It does. It does. That would also explain why the producer who I said, I think you should be a co-composer, said to me, you don't have to do that. So it was,
yeah, but these are things you have to discuss up front. These are things that you have to discuss up front.
All right. Okay. So there's no
standard for that. It's discussed up front for sure. You know, in my world, I don't think that you should have gotten a piece of, and he shouldn't have gotten the piece, because it's arrangements, and arranging is not songwriting, is not composing, right? You can have one song that has 5,000 different productions, arrangements, sound recordings. You know, that doesn't mean that if I over the rainbow and I cover it, that I should be a composer on it. Just because I changed the arrangement. It's still the same song. Does that make sense?
It does make sense. Now I need to take that back. Okay.
I mean, if you agree to something, that's also your prerogative in your business, you know?
Yeah, I think there's a lot more songs where that one came from with this particular person. So,
yeah, and that's a good way to look at it too. There's lots of songs to be written. Yeah, there's lots of that. Yeah. Yeah, and you're a great writer, so you know you're very prolific. So I don't think you have to worry.
All right. Well, thank you, Michelle. I look forward to working with you. And Song U is a wonderful place. I got an opportunity. They post artists looking for music and other kinds of things looking for music. And someone wrote back to me that they wanted to talk to me about one of my songs there.
Okay.
So,
yeah, I love SongU. So SongU is a place that I also teach at, and it's a really good place. I'll type it in the chat. songu.com. And also a lot of people who are joining today are a member of a group called Writing Sessions America, WSA, and that's a really awesome organization as well. So I'll put it in the chat. And I think I spelled it wrong, but there we go. Okay. Yeah. So awesome. Thanks, Carol. Okay, then Kate's been waiting and Van's been waiting and Stephanie and Linda. So we'll get everyone's questions. So Kate, let's start with you. Oh, you're muted. You're still muted. There we go.
There it is. All right. Cool. Well, I was wondering, in terms of, I guess, session musicians and hiring session musicians, do we need to have them sign a work for hire contract before we proceed?
Yes. And before they play one note and before you let them hear the song. Yes.
Okay. I figured that, but I thought, I've worked with a few people before I figured that out. So I guess if you want to use something, you have to go back and ask them to sign.
Yes, do it up front because, 40 years ago, 50 years ago, some of us have been doing this a very long time. Nobody did that. Everybody came and sang and we paid them and they had a check and they canceled check and nobody was litigious and we all sang for each other and everybody played for each other and everybody got paid and everybody was happy. And now, no. The world has become so litigious and everybody is going to come after you. And the minute you get a sync, they're going to go, I heard my guitar riff on there. I didn't say you could use that. So yeah, definitely. And I have some people I hire who are so difficult that I slap them with that paperwork before they say a word. Because I know that they will do shady things.
Okay.
Yeah. But they're so talented that I want to hire them. But so you have to have them for the singers, the musicians, the engineers, the studio, everybody who's involved. And don't let a producer tell you, oh yeah, well, I brought in this singer. No, they can't bring in anybody. You have to have paperwork with every individual human.
Okay.
Yeah, you can't even trust the singer to say, well, I hired them, it's fine. No.
Okay.
Yeah. And beforehand, and also the same with splits. When you write with somebody, split sheet beforehand. I mean, obviously, I have two friends in here I've worked with for 40 years, we don't do that. But with other people, oh yeah, split sheet instantly, right? And also I make them sign a one-stop agreement that says the songs can be pitched one stop, meaning I can pitch on them, they can pitch them. Don't have to get the other person's approval for non-exclusive uses, because if not, then the music supervisors don't want to work with you and your songs are encumbered. So the pile of paperwork necessary now for new people that, it's massive.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, question. It's so important. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome. And I'm glad you're doing it. So awesome. Okay, Ben. Welcome. And I love HMMA. It's a great.
Oh, thank you. I'll stop that. I'll show you my face.
Hey, thank you.
How are you? Thank you for inviting me, asking me to come here, and it was my honor. I have a couple of questions about sound exchange, which has happened recently. What's happening is when I register on Sound Exchange, CD Baby claims rights on the songs, the ownership, and
that's because you opted into what I
because
just
yes, I figured that I opted. Yeah. So the last time I did, I took out that name. But the problem I'm having is, they are very late in answering questions. I mean, CD Baby lately, which means there's an overlap happening. So I am claiming and they're claiming, and they say CD Baby says that if that happens, we immediately take it out, so you can do whatever you want. You know, they're not going to claim for you. But which one is better? My question is, which one is better? Is it to go through CD Baby or to claim myself?
Oh, no, as we discussed, I don't know if you came on late, but we were discussing that definitely you want to claim it yourself. You do not want to go to CD Baby Pro for their pro to do their publishing administration, because they encumber the songs. It makes it difficult for sync. It makes it difficult with music libraries. They won't work with you, and it's very unprofessional. They're not in the business of publishing. They're in the business of distribution. So you definitely want to do it yourself.
Even just for Sound Exchange?
Yes, don't do it. Just
okay. Yeah, I started
to register your song at Sound Exchange. Just register it.
Okay, so the other thing is, there are two things in Sound Exchange: ownership and featured artists. Now, featured artist means whoever is on top. You know, whoever's
the singer. Usually the singer.
Yeah. So my thing is, my artist name is Band Brothers, which is me and my brother, and I never changed it. So whenever we do together, it's like a brand, you know.
Right.
So I'm not showing anything under my artist name, because when I registered, it's my name. I registered by my name, but the artist name is Band Brothers. Is that a mistake? What should I do?
Well, that's what you did. So if you put it down there as Band Brothers, then that's how it is, and you're going to get the money and divvy it up with your brothers.
But none of the songs are showing as under my name as artist.
No, because you said you put Band Brothers as the artist.
Right. So how is that money going to come to me? Because because
you put all your information to them and the payee to them. So you told them where to pay, and they're going to pay the money to you, but it's going to be for Band Brothers.
Right. But we don't have a Band Brothers account. The account is me. So is that...
You need to contact them and discuss with them what they would like you to do. Yeah. Yeah. You have to discuss with them. And they have really good customer service. Just call them up on the telephone. Yeah.
Okay. I think I'll do that. Yeah.
Customer service.
Are they good with talking?
Yeah, I just said that. They're good on the telephone.
Sound Exchange?
Yeah.
Okay. I think I'll do that, because I'm having I changed that scheme for checking out of CD Baby and getting directly through Sound Exchange. Because one other thing about Sound Exchange is because I have a ton of songs, and when you go to Sound Exchange, you can search for songs and see which ones under your name, and you can claim them, and it just automatically shows. That's a nice thing about Sound Exchange I saw.
Yeah, it's great. I agree. I love Sound Exchange. Yes.
What's the other place you said other than MLC and Harry Fox that we should?
Music Reports.
Huh?
Music Reports.
Music Reports. Okay.
Yes, it's abbreviated MRI, but it's Music Reports. Musicreports.com.
Oh, okay.
In the chat.
They claim for publishing and.
Yeah, they pay for things like Equinox, TikTok, Deezer, and Spot. No, I'm sorry. The other one.
Tidal.
Yeah, Tidal, exactly. And another big one is will come to me, but they pay for platforms like that. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Thank you.
Publishers. Yeah, you're welcome.
Okay.
And it's free to sign up. So let's go to Stephanie, and then we'll go to Linda.
Hi.
Thanks for being so patient. Thanks for coming.
Oh, thank you for doing this. So I thought of this question after you talked about registering your publishing company with your PRO. I've been told before that when you set up your publishing company, you should set it up with along with the PRO, set it up with your state secretary of state, I think it is, to as an LLC to protect your personal assets in case you're sued for copyright infringement or anything like that. When you have a publishing company, should you have, when you want to release music and things like that, have a separate company for the recording part, like for your releases? Or can you do like all of that with one company and then just register that company with the PRO?
You should only have one company. You don't need more than one company. And as for the LLC, I don't use an LLC.
Oh, okay.
Use a DBA. You don't need you don't even need a DBA anymore. You can just join as a publisher online with neither as a sole proprietor and not even publish a DBA. The money, and also the money comes to your bank account in direct deposit. So if you have one bank account and you have a writer's account and a publisher's account, it all comes to that bank account. They BMI, ASCAP, CSAC, nobody cares. So and I personally don't want to have an LLC. It's too much work. I don't want to deal with it. It's up to you. That's a personal choice, right? If you get sued, no matter what, you still have to defend it, right? If it's copyright infringement, you still have to deal with it. So it doesn't matter in my humble opinion. But if you feel more comfortable doing it, I don't want to. It's expensive. You have to pay yourself out. There's all kinds of stipulations. I don't want to deal with it. And again, you know, I make a living full time and have income as a songwriter, and I don't want to deal with it. If someone's starting out and they want to do that, oh my God, God bless them. It's a lot of work, but it's completely up to you. Completely. I have one friend who's makes millions of dollars as a songwriter or composer, and he had an LLC and closed it and went back to just being a sole proprietor because it was so much work. And this person is so detail oriented that I would never have imagined that he would close that, but he just couldn't even deal with it himself. And he's so, like, you know, the word we use, anal retentive, you know? And so that's how I can say about it. I'm not going to go there, but if you want to go there, it's your, you know, there's no right or wrong with that, but the PROs don't care. So they don't care at all.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good to know.
Thank you. You're welcome. Linda, thanks for waiting.
I don't have to have a song released to pitch it for sync, correct?
Of course not. No.
Okay. But why would I want a song released? Would I need it for radio?
Yeah, because people are artists and they have artist mentality and they want to have their songs out in the world on Spotify and Apple and stuff. I mean, humbly, why? I don't know. You don't make any money doing it. So it's really a creative thing to do it. There's like almost no money in it. But I don't do it much, releasing my songs. And to be honest with you, probably should release some of the ones that have been synced and air all the time. But I have them up on some of them on my website for sale, you know, and I make 49 cents, you know, and every so often, almost never. And the ones that are released on the Spotify, they make micro pennies. But people want to release them because they're artists and it's for their soul and to get their fans engaged and stuff. But for sure, the music supervisors don't care either way.
Okay.
If you have,
and I have no soul, but Katie Wellenberg is going to release the song we wrote together, and I want her to release it because she's the singer.
Yeah, of course, it's important for her.
Okay, that's all I needed.
But it doesn't. It won't hurt your sync potential, and it won't hurt your potential for another artist to record it. And there's nothing wrong with it, you know.
Okay.
I mean, and
so I can go A&R even if it's not released.
Of course.
Okay.
Nobody cares. So the only people who care, and we discuss this in our course, is the Japanese and the Koreans. They care. So if you want to work K-pop or J-pop and you write that kind of music, then don't release your songs because they want to be the first release. After they release the song, then anybody can and they don't care. But they care very much if the song is out there released. And I even had a situation where I have many songs that I wrote with Kesha, and that somehow they leaked and got released. And how can you prevent that? She's famous. You know, people find things, release things, do things. I had one of the keyboard players that I worked with released it, you know, without my permission. And so then when the Japanese were cutting the song with this big artist on Universal, they got all angry with me that the song was released. And I'm like, well, she's famous. and everything she, touches is out in the world. And so in the end, they did record the song. In the end, Universal did, but that's very rare, and they were very upset. They don't like it when the songs are even on your website, anywhere that publicly can be listened to or streamed or anything. So that's something to take into consideration if you want to do that kind of music, right? And some of your music, Linda, is very, J-pop, K-pop possible. So with up-tempo pop songs. So, it's just a consideration if one is going to get into that world.
So I shouldn't put it on my website
Well, if you want to do J-pop or K-pop, but I don't know if you're going to delve into that world and pitch in that world. So,
No.
right, if you have, so then don't worry about it. Then put the song out.
All right, all good. Thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome. Laura, hello, my dear friend.
Unmute.
Unmute, girlfriend. Yeah, I hear you. It's your friend. Yes.
So I know that you've touched upon this a couple of times tonight, but the question is, the songs that I do have released, will the libraries and the music supervisors not be interested in them?
No, of course not. That's what we were just saying. Yeah, they can be released. The music supervisors don't care.
Oh, I thought you were saying, okay, I thought you were saying that the music supervisors really don't want to work with songs that have been released.
Oh, no, I didn't say that at all. I said they don't care. Yeah.
They don't care. And what about the libraries?
They don't care. None of them care.
So what is the liability of the released songs?
Only for the Japanese and the Koreans.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, other than that, nobody cares. Yeah.
Excellent. Okay.
They don't care either way. If it's released, if it's not released, it doesn't matter to them. If you have the song that the music supervisor thinks is right, they're going to use it and license it. As long as you have all your ducks in a row and all your paperwork in a row and all of that, then they're fine, right? If you have a song that's released and all of a sudden you have another artist, right, that wants to cut it, because you've had many major label artists cut your songs, they don't care anymore. Nobody cares. If you released it as an artist, but they love it and they want to do a version of it, Bonnie Raitt's still going to cut your song. She doesn't care. Yeah. Right? So that's, nobody cares anymore about that kind of thing. And maybe Bonnie discovered it and wants to record it because she heard it on Spotify. Right?
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah. We don't have to worry about that. It's really only the Japanese and the Koreans.
Okay.
That have an issue with that.
Okay.
Yeah, and I see in the chat, that's a good site, Carol, for the UPC code. I think that is the one that I used, where it was $5, exactly, upc.com. So, okay, let's see, questions. Carol, did you have another question? Did you have your hand raised?
No, I just didn't put my hand down yet.
Okay. All right. And Ban, did you have a question? Are you there?
Sorry, Sammy, I forgot.
Oh, that's no problem. Stephanie?
Yeah, sorry.
Or did you have a question?
Oh, no. I forgot to put my hand down.
That's okay. And Linda, question. Linda? Are you there? She looks frozen. No?
Nope. I don't know how to put my hand down. Oh, there.
Yes, yeah. It says
no questions.
Lower hand. Okay, Smooth J, welcome. Hey. So glad you made it. Oh, you're muted.
Good morning. Oh.
Well, it's good afternoon here. Nice to see you. It was great to see you last night, too.
Thanks a bunch. It was great listening and all the greatness of the conversations and information.
Good, thank you. Do you have a question?
So I'm just gonna ask. So I am an artist. I sing. I write my own stuff. I master sound. produce, I do it all. And I'm gonna start doing my own music. But
oh yeah, 'cause you said you play everything, but last night you used a track. I remember. Yeah, yeah.
So basically, I have DistroKid for the UPC. It was like,
Oh, you broke up. Say that again.
so I have DistroKid,
Right.
Okay. So why does it keep breaking up? The metadata.
Mm-hmm.
Do that. I would need BMI. Don't have that.
Yeah, well, if you don't have BMI, you're not getting paid a lot of your royalties, your streaming royalties. If you're only releasing through DistroKid and you don't have a PRO account, so you have to have a BMI account or ASCAP, but I like BMI. Yeah, and you have to have a writer account and a publisher account, and so you definitely want to go and establish that. That's the first essential for being a professional songwriter. The first thing that one needs to do is have a PRO account with their writers and their publishers account. Set them up.
Okay, so and then Sound Exchange is kind of like a place where I can shoot my shot for my music to get on a commercial or a movie or a...
Sound Exchange has nothing to do with that. They only collect royalties. And they collect royalties for you as a featured artist, which is the singer, rapper, and the master owner, the person who owns the sound recording. They don't distribute or exploit your songs for any reasons.
Okay, so I wouldn't really...
But if you have your songs released on DistroKid and people are streaming them and downloading them, then you definitely want to have an account with Sound Exchange.
Okay.
Because if not, you're missing royalties.
Okay. Okay. That's all I really got. Very awesomely informationalness going on in this.
You were late, I know today. So listen, watch the replay because I think there was a lot of valuable information that you missed, and it will help you because the first thing you need to do is join the PRO. Then you need to join Sound Exchange and you need to put your music up there. You need to join music reports because you are releasing music, but you're missing your royalties because you're not joining these organizations. They're free to join and you need to set up these accounts. That's the most important thing. If you want to have your songs used and exploited in films, TV, games, ads, media, then you have to learn how to pitch songs, learn how to work with sync agents, learn how to work with music libraries, right? So either you need to learn that on your own or take my course or take someone else's course or come to stuff, right? Or in Writing Sessions America, you know, hopefully some people will give you some tidbits, and that's the problem because like just to hack my course for a second, that's the problem is we get all these tidbits, all these little bits and pieces of information, but we never know how to put them together because we haven't gotten the basics. We don't know the basics from the beginning. We don't know all the platforms. We don't know how to pitch. So we come to these events and half of it goes over our heads because we have no idea what anybody's talking about and how to organize our work and how to do our metadata and how to operate as professionals, right? So it's super important to learn how to do that. It's taken me 42 years to learn that, right? If you can learn that in 16 classes, you know, and whether it's from me or someone, that's all I can do is if fast tracks you. One sync pays for a class, a course, you know, one sync pays for it. And the value of learning is huge because if we come here and just don't know the basics, that's really not gonna be optimum for for us. So that's all that I can say about that situation. But in your situation, Smooth, definitely start with BMI. Join. And join as a publisher as well as a writer. It's $150. Spend the money. Because if you just join as a writer, that's not going to serve you.
And then there was somebody said something about the LLC, that stuff. I was actually looking into that to actually
yeah, I understand, but I think that's a waste of money. See, if we're going to spend money, spend it in the other places. To form an LLC, it's a waste of money, and especially if you're starting out and you don't have any money that you're making doing it, what's the point? Why would you do that? I, again, make a living as a songwriter, make real money, and I don't have an LLC. You know, I don't, why, right? I don't know, like my friends Laura and Larry here, who also are professionals, do you have LLCs? I don't think so, right? Larry doesn't, Laura doesn't. No, we don't want to deal with that. And here you have two people, my collaborators, Laura and Larry, who make their full livings making music for the last 40, 50 years, and they don't have an LLC. You know, like me, like it doesn't, it's not necessary. But I think that a lot of people think it's cool. Like they think it's prestigious and they think it's cool and like professional to have I have an LLC, baby.
Well, this, with the I was thinking about actually trademarking my name.
Well, that's different. Trademark is totally different situation. And if you want to trademark your name, you for sure can do that. And I wouldn't stop you from that, for sure. Go for it. If it's not already taken, you need to check into that. But you definitely, trademarking is awesome. But that's a totally different situation. That has nothing to do with an LLC,
right?
Which is a tax corporation, right? But to trademark your name, try it. Go for it. You're using a cool moniker. You know, other people might want it, have it. You need to check.
Okay. You're awesome.
When you form a publishing company, everybody, you know, you have to give 5 names because they don't allow you to have a publishing company that's already in use with the same name. So you would know immediately if you join BMI, if you just tried to use a name like Smooth J Publishing and someone had it, you know.
Huh.
Yeah. You have to give them five possibilities so that they can clear one. And they'll try with the first one first. It's in order of what your preference is, but you know, you could get and find that the name is used already.
Hopefully not.
I'm trying to remember because it's decades ago, but when I registered my company Sweeter Songs, I think I started with Sweet Songs and it was taken.
Had to make it sweeter.
Sweeter Songs, yeah. And it's so long, it's just decades ago. But yeah, I'm remembering now that I think that I wanted Sweet Songs.
Ooh, cool. And side note, that painting is cool.
Thank you. Yeah, my husband had that commissioned by an artist from Miami. That's actually the picture from the photograph of my Emmy win. Thank you. I think that artist did a beautiful job. Thank you. Yeah, I'm glad you came. Oh, look, Joanne. Hey there. How welcome. So nice to see you have a question.
Hello, thank you for having me. I'm a credited and copyrighted lyricist on a commissioned June choral concert to be performed this June. I'd love to know how to submit it to television or features and how I and the composer can make money.
Okay, so basically you have one song, correct? And it's not just a lyric, it's a song recorded?
It will be a concert. It is an entire like symphony with movements.
Okay,
for chorus.
It's not recorded. This is going to be live, correct?
It's live and to be recorded. The live performance is to be recorded.
Okay, who composed it? You wrote the lyric correct?
Right, and someone else composed it.
Okay, do you have paperwork with that person?
I have a demonstrative sheet music with my name at the top with his, and at the bottom it's copyrighted with both of our names.
You have a copyright. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Do you have paperwork with him saying that you can pitch the song?
No, this was like a complete volunteer, like submit possible lyrics, and he chose mine. So there's no paperwork yet.
Then you need paperwork. So you're asking what to start with. First thing you need paperwork. Or saying you co-wrote the song together and that you own it 50-50. Hopefully he considers it 50-50. Composition and the lyric. First thing you need. So it's a split sheet. You need that paperwork. Next, you need a one-stop agreement that says you can pitch it because you want to pitch it. Okay? Third thing you need, a recording. You cannot pitch a song that is not recorded, and you cannot pitch a live recording. You really need a studio recording of the song. So you need to find someone to record the song for you.
Great.
Okay, like my partner here, Larry Treadwell, who does that. Yes. So you need to find somebody who can do that for you, because without an entity, without a song, you can't pitch it. Now, how long is it?
Well, there's several movements, so I don't know. It's my section is not that long. I would estimate no more than 10 minutes.
Okay, that's way
5 to
too
6.
long. That's
5 minutes.
As a song, 2.5 to 3.5 minutes. If not, you're running into like orchestral, which really doesn't get placed much, but you could use a music library. By Smooth, you could use a music library and try to put the song in the music library, but to pitch it directly is not going to be well received by you because it's this long kind of orchestral piece. And not really something that a music supervisor would look for, but maybe a music library might be interested in housing it. And you really don't own the whole piece then, right? You just own your section?
Correct.
Okay, so you need paperwork for this because this is a very specific issue. So you need that paperwork with the composer to decide how you would split it, how you could get a recording of just that song portion, maybe how you could cut it down and work with someone like Larry who could help you make it into a normal song length so it's not so long so that it's pitchable. And also in terms of pitching, we need songs. So to pitch have one song is a great start to building our libraries, our catalogs, our personal libraries. But if somebody likes what you do and you only have this one piece, that's not great because then you don't have anything else to give them and you're not a go-to and of service to them. So I would want to see you composing more lyrics and more music. Like Linda, who's here, Linda is a lyricist. She operates in the world of lyrics and she co-writes with people. So is this helpful for you? Is this answering a little bit what you need?
Absolutely. Thanks so much.
You're welcome. Yeah, so definitely first steps, all those paperwork and the recording of the song, most important.
Okay. Fabulous. Thank you.
So welcome. Yeah. And thank you for coming. And anybody, I'll stay till the questions are done, but if everybody's done, then we can adjourn. But does anybody have any other questions today? Bye, Gnosis. Thank you for coming. You're the best. Thank you. Anybody? No? Oh, I see you Wednesday. Welcome. Hey, girl. So happy you're here.
Hi.
Hi.
So I do have a question. So I'm with ASCAP, and they're my publisher. But you're saying that we need a are you meaning that I also need to make my own publishing company?
Okay, so this is awesome what you just said, because this is so important. I'm sorry so many people left, because ASCAP is not a publishing company. ASCAP is not your publisher. ASCAP is a performing rights organization, just like BMI, CSAC, and in Germany, GEMA, and the UK PRS. These are performing rights organizations, and they pay us our performing share of our royalties. They don't pay mechanicals, which are record sales or downloads or streaming mechanicals. They pay performance royalties to us. So there is no way a publishing company. Now, at ASCAP, yes, you have a writer's account, and now you need to form a publishing account, because when a song is written, there's a writer's share and a publisher's share, and you are not taking care of your publisher's share by not having a publishing account at your PRO, which is ASCAP. So is that making more sense? Wednesday, are you still here? Because I don't.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, so it's so important that you have a publishing account. And it's so important because I know you're releasing music that, you learn about music publishing and know this. So I'm excited for you to learn more about it.
Thank you. I'm so excited. Thank you.
You're welcome. And I'm so glad you're here. That's so awesome. Yeah. Right on, Banks. I'm so glad you're here for sure. And Kate, you have your hand raised. Question?
I just thought of one more question.
Yeah, go for it, guys.
So would you say that the non-exclusive libraries get similar or the same kinds of placements as the exclusive libraries? I took a class where the guy said, you should stick with the exclusives, because if you go with non-exclusive libraries, your music will end up in home videos and somebody's wedding and things like that.
Well, to be honest with you, I've seen it the other way.
Okay, great.
I have hundreds of, well, not hundreds, I'd say 150 maybe in exclusive libraries that I've done as commissions. And I have, 1,000 that are my own songs where I pitch directly or are non-exclusive libraries. And I work with one library that last year got me a placement in Orange is the New Black. That's a big one. And also in the Jennifer Aniston, Dolly Parton movie Dumplin'. So that's from the non-exclusive library, right? And then from the exclusive libraries that I work with, they're the ones who get, music on the MDA channel and music and little HGTV stuff. And so I'm finding the other way that it's the big major libraries that are the exclusive contracts that are getting mostly smaller things.
That is so good to hear, because that's been my main sort of stumbling block, thinking if I don't choose the right library, I'll get shelved for 10 years or something. And so that's really good to hear.
That's why you want to do non-exclusives and not do exclusives, because, you could end up with that and make tiny little money. And now I don't care about those because I don't own the songs.
Right, exactly.
But the ones where I do the non-exclusive libraries, they're getting bigger placements, in my opinion, for me.
This is really good news. Thank you. That's a total relief. Thank you.
A secret. Let me give you all a secret. When you see someone telling you about all their placements, and you see placements on things like ESPN and Major Label Basketball, and they're listing stuff like, let's think, HGTV and Discovery. Those are from exclusive libraries. Those are little tiny placements from exclusive libraries. Also, a lot of times those people don't have IMDb Pro accounts or IMDb on IMDb at all. And you can't even find their placements. Why? Because there have all these little tiny insignificant things that these exclusive libraries are placing, and it's total giveaway. NMDC, right? When I see all those placements, I know those are music library placements because nobody pitches those directly, and those are not big placements, right? But when you see things on Blue Bloods and see things on NCIS and Hawaii 5.0, now you know those are direct pitches, or they came from some sync agents and they were big placements. It really is a dead giveaway. you know, what they've had, where they're working, those people. And I don't fault them. I like to get stuff on MSNBC and all those things too. You know, I like to get those, but I'm only saying that they are not the big money placements. That's not where the money is, right? So
Right. That is great to hear. That's really great to hear, because I think there's just more opportunity if you have more freedom with your own music. So, and that's not going to be there for an exclusive deal, especially if it's in perpetuity. So thank you.
yeah, exactly. And again, diversify. Just, you know, learn how to do a lot of stuff. Is it time consuming? Yes, but the rewards are bigger. So let's ask, now we have somebody new, Shates Stewart.
Oh, Shatis, hi.
Beautiful name.
Oh, thank you. And I apologize in advance. I'm going to remain off camera for this one, but if I take your course, I promise I'll come off camera. But just a quick question, and it's very specific. First off, thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for all the information you shared thus far and the opportunity to ask my question. It's really specific regarding a music promotion company, and I have to take advantage of the opportunity to ask. Do you have an opinion regarding a music promotion company called Yangaroo? And the reason why I'm asking is because my understanding is that they do a lot of placement for a couple of networks that I'm interested in having, like my music would fit really well with their content, like some BET shows and some other type shows. I do a lot of R&B, not only R&B. So I wanted to know if you had any an opinion or an experience with Yangaroo. Thank you.
I'm looking them up right now. So what are they do? They want to rep your songs exclusively? I'm reading about it. It was an entrepreneur and investment banker. Okay. I don't believe in exclusives. So I know I think you were late. I'm not sure if you've been here since we started.
I have. I'm not sure if it's only exclusive. They may have a non-exclusive option, but either way, I just wanted to know if you had any.
An exclusive option, then try it. Do you know what placements they've gotten?
Some BET shows. They have some kind of dramas.
BET is good. I've had a lot of placements directly on BET, and they pay pretty well in royalties. So. But again, if they want to rep your songs and it is exclusive, I would not do it. If they want to rep your songs non-exclusively and you can discuss that with them, then for sure, go for it, because you have nothing to lose. It doesn't matter. Like if we have music in non-exclusive libraries and with non-exclusive sync agents, it doesn't matter. It doesn't hurt. It's like I would never go and pull my songs out of a non-exclusive library because they didn't get me a placement, because who cares? Maybe they'll get me one next week or next year. Like, it doesn't matter. So then, Shatis, I would definitely say go for it. But if it's exclusive, I would say no. Don't do it.
No, completely agreed. I was just curious if you had any.
With that particular company, no, I've never, ever heard of them. This is the first time, but thank you for bringing it to my attention, and I'm sure going to delve into it more and look into that. Yeah, thank you. Definitely have not heard of them, but that doesn't mean anything, you know. They could be good. How did you hear of them?
Someone who has some placements with BET, they said this is how one of the services that BET uses in their handful of services. So I didn't know if that was accurate or not.
Be accurate. I mean, there are different networks that only use certain music libraries and certain services. That is totally true. They'll also accept songs pitched directly, but when it comes to libraries, there might be only 5 libraries that they sanction or that they work with. So that does happen, and that is true. And this could be a library that BET works with. I've always pitched to them directly, but it's totally possible. So I'm going to look more into it because I'm interested about it. I can let Kevin know if you want. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that would be good. Maybe I could follow up with you on that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You're welcome. Thanks for bringing it to our attention for sure. And Michelle.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello again. And I know you were talking about exclusive and non-exclusive libraries. I am in an exclusive library where you can, it's for a year at a time, and I really like them. I have a good relationship with this library. But my question is, I'm just wondering, do you need to register your songs that are in exclusive libraries? And I ask that because some people I know in the music licensing world say, well, if it's in this exclusive library, I don't register it, but if it's in a non-exclusive, they do. So I've just heard that, and then I hear different things. So I was just wondering your take on that.
Okay, so what you need to do with an exclusive library is no, you cannot register the song yourself. That has to be registered by the library, but I would for sure go into my PRO account and check and see if the songs are registered. And if they are not, then I would get with that library and ask them to please register the songs. Because you're not going to get paid any royalties if the songs are used if they're not registered.
Fortunately, they are.
Good, then you don't have a problem. But for sure,
okay,
you only register songs that you own the publishing of.
Okay.
They're supposed to register it. And even if it's a non-exclusive library and they're taking a share of the publishing and retitling, that's their job to register that song for that in their name. But we always want to check because, again, you know, we're not going to get paid if they don't get paid and the songs are not registered. And let me also add that I check my PRO accounts every few months to see if the songs are registered because they disappear. Sometimes you'll have a song and you'll know you registered it and somehow it's gone and they just disappear. So you always want to check your accounts, your you know, Sound Exchange and your PRO and the MLC and all of that. You want to check everything to make sure that the songs are still there, that they're still registered, and that something didn't happen.
Just a quick follow-up. So if you're in a non-exclusive library and they've registered the retitled thing, you can still register it under the original title, right? Since you're in a non-exclusive?
Yeah, of course. And you should register for sure. Definitely.
That's what I thought. Okay.
Yeah, and you own it. So for sure you can. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
And I do suggest every time you finish a song to register it, because even Larry and I had a situation, you know, just a week ago where we needed songs registered and somehow they weren't registered. So, you know, they were from 1985 or something, but in our defense, but at the same point, we want to really, the best thing for everybody to do is the minute the song is done, register it at your PRO, just so you don't forget, just so you don't end up in our situation where things aren't registered. You know, make sure you register them immediately and then you don't have an issue.
I'm way behind.
Yeah, and some libraries require that the songs are registered before they take them in. So if you pitch them to them or upload them to them and the songs are not registered, they get very upset that they're not. And that was like our situation. The songs were not registered from all those decades ago. So now they are. But yeah, so it's just better to just get it done and register them, and then you don't have to think about it. But I would check again every few months, make sure that it's registered, make sure it didn't disappear somehow. Disappear.
Yeah, I registered a song in March, and it's still not, doesn't show that they've taken it. You know, that it's accepted yet, the BMI. So maybe I hear it could take a while, but
there's
anyway.
some BMI. But Larry, our songs got registered in a day or two. So you definitely because it only took like 2 days.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, I better call them or something.
Right? You didn't do anything special. You just filled it out, right?
Yeah.
You just filled it out online. So definitely, you know, make sure there isn't some kind of weird issue going on. Make sure that the accounts are correct and everything is correct.
Okay.
Get that publishing account.
I will. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. And yeah, Bonnie's saying maybe you left out information or gave the wrong percentages or publishing. For sure, that can totally happen. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Oh, nice that you're here, Bonnie. I didn't see you, so that's great. And anybody else? I don't know, did anybody ask a question in the chat that I didn't see? because if that's true, then I'm sorry for that. But anybody? Shatis, did you have another song, or you just another question, or you forgot to put your hand down? Or Steve, welcome. What you got? You always have.
Hey, Michelle, I wonder if you could circle back on a clarification, something that confused me. This was Linda's question about stems versus mine and making another master. What if you've co-written with somebody, you equally own the stems and the assets? Are you not allowed to use the stems to make another master? I'm just confused with the question.
You have to own it 100% if you share in the stems, in the ownership. So yeah, of course you can make another master, but if you're actually going to use the stems that are in existence, then you can't just take her share of it away.
Oh, okay. No, that makes sense. What are the lyrics considered part of the stems?
Well,
I know this is like a weird. This isn't a question regarding what I've done with Linda. This is a question of a future thing I'm working on.
The vocals are part of the stems, so that includes the lyrics.
Right, but just the lyric sheet. But if it's going to be a new vocalist, new instrumentals, whatever, that is what by definition.
The lyric is part of the song. Don't you have split sheet that the song is 50-50?
Well, I don't have this. This isn't something that's happened. This is something that I'm working on potentially with something else. Just trying to understand like the nuances of this.
Song, as we've taught and learned, you should have split sheet done immediately. It's 50-50. The master recording has nothing to do with the composition. So now the lyric is part of the composition. So if you use the vocal that contains the lyric, does that make sense?
Somewhat. I'm just trying to understand.
I can't understand what you're trying to do, so you have to be more specific and tell us.
No. I'm trying to understand if in the future if I have co-writers, I'm adding several moving forward, but I wanted to make a totally independent master that I owned without them. What am I allowed to use, not use?
Well, first of all, you can't use anything if you co-own the master together. If you originally co-own the master, if you originally owned the master alone, then you can do whatever you want.
Okay.
A lot of times, you might work on something where you paid for everything, did everything, and your co-writer was the co-writer, but doesn't own the master. That happens all the time. But if you're divvying that the co-writer owns the master with you.
Okay, so if everybody owns half of the original master, you can't go make another sound recording and own it independently.
You can, but you can't use the stems. You'd have to make a whole new sound recording.
Okay.
New parts. Do you understand? You'd have to have new drums, new guitars, new keyboards, new vocals, new everything.
Right, which circles back to my question of, but you could use the original lyric sheet, but just not with any of the
sheet is just typed lyrics.
Correct.
So that's the composition. That has nothing to do with the sound recording. Do you understand?
Yeah. No, I just always assume that.
Go on.
I always assume that for me, a song starts with you write it on paper, and then you kind of sing it, and you get a melody in your head, and you develop it and add on from there.
Some people, not for everybody.
Right. Oh, I know some people write instrumentals first and do words last. I know, but for me, it starts with words. But if I have co-authored everything, then the only thing I would be, what it sounds like, the only thing I would be free to use to own a new separate independent sound recording would be that original lyric sheet.
Yes, but nobody would discuss it that way. The lyric
right, okay.
is the composition. It's the lyric and the melody is the composition. It has nothing to do with the sound recording. right?
Okay.
So if you have Somewhere Over the Rainbow again, the lyric and the melody are the composition. There can be 8 million sound recordings of it. But if you use a sound recording that's already in existence and remix it, that is not a new sound recording.
Okay.
Okay.
No, that's a good
I
clarification.
feel like you don't understand those, so I really want you to understand, like leave understanding the situation. The sound recording is the sound recording. So you can make a new sound recording. Once again, anybody can. If I write a song with you and I produce it, let's say, and you don't like my sound recording and you say, I'm going to make a new sound recording, I can't stop you. But can't use my stems. You can't use my parts. But you can take the song, which is the melody and lyric, and then have it resung and have all the parts remade and remixed and make a new master, for sure. Yeah, I can't stop you from doing that as your co-writer. That has nothing to do with the composition, which is the melody and the lyric.
No, I get it. Okay.
Okay? Yeah.
All right, cool. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. And that's important to make sure we all understand, because we don't want to be using things that we co-own, and not.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that, but though I do think some get confused with that, and I wasn't 100% certain either in terms of what is a remix of existing stems versus something, a new, totally original sound recording.
I totally agree. And there are some times where people have come to me and asked me to make remixes and use all my parts and not want to credit me as the producer, right? I'm like, no. You can do a remix and I'm happy to share the stems, but those are still my parts. If you want to do a new sound recording and not give me any credit, then you have to start.
You have to do a new complete start from scratch. No, that answer actually makes the most sense of any I've tried to get on this.
Oh, okay.
Because everybody goes off, oh sure, just go make another sound recording. It's like, well, but suppose you like the guitar from the original and you want to pull that with you, then it can't be your own, or it's not.
Well, that would negotiate with the
right. No, well, of course that's what I said. Or you could work it into an upfront agreement that you each have the right to, if you want to, remaster it on your own at your own expense, you can use the stems if it's in the agreement.
Yeah, and also if again, if the guitar,
but it's uncommon.
Or not, then you don't have to ask the guitar player. But if you're co-writer and you both paid the guitar player together, then you would own that stem together. If you played the guitar player yourself, you would own that guitar part. If you paid the guitar player yourself, had work for hire paperwork with that guitar player, you would own that guitar.
Got it.
Yeah, but it gets very convoluted.
Yeah, it does indeed.
Yeah. So if you want to do these things, which I'm not sure why you would want to do them, but if you would want to do these things, then you would really want to start from scratch, like you're saying. Just have a new sound recording. Exactly.
Okay.
Much nicer.
Good to know.
Yeah.
All righty. Thank you.
For sure. Yeah, definitely. And anybody else? Natalia, welcome. How nice that you dropped in. Hello. Are you there? Did you have a question?
Hi, Michelle.
Hi.
I just was able to drop in. Thank you so much. I wasn't sure if you guys still on. I do have a question, and that's well, first off, thank you so much for gathering us here. And I'm so confused about the official YouTube artist channel that's generated by TuneCore, and we addressed that over email already, but I still don't understand. Like, you responded to me. Okay, just to explain everybody else, I signed up for it without knowing that they're gonna take a part of my publishing for my videos and for my song.
That's TuneCore, right? Okay.
TuneCore. I had no idea. They don't say, they don't disclose it anywhere, and that's like a very slide trap, and I was horrified when
They do disclose it, but you just didn't see it or didn't understand it because now you're more educated, and so now you understand it. But
right. Well, anyway, so you mentioned that what would have happened if the channel is completely down, and if we launch the channel again and with the same songs. Um, Basically, that was your question. My question here, I don't want to take down my channel. I work for it so hard for generating the audience, the subscribers, the whole thing. For me, it's like totally killing what I was doing because
did you ask them all those questions that I asked you to ask them?
I have not yet because I was waiting for this. I was waiting for this.
Anything else until you get those questions answered. Like I can't help you because those questions need to be answered.
I see.
Yeah.
So you have something specific in mind. Okay, because I want to understand first, like why can't we just why can't I just opt out of the service and just forget about it? I don't care if I'm whitelisted or not. Like he was telling me.
Ask them. You have to ask them. There's nothing I can answer on that question right now that'll help anybody or even you until you ask those questions to them and then come back, send me an email. I'm so sorry, beautiful, but you have to ask those questions.
Okay,
questions
I will right now.
Yeah, those questions are key, and obviously they responded to you pretty quickly, which is rare with TuneCore. So I was really happy to see that and get them to answer those questions. Then you can proceed further to see, can you just opt out of the situation? You might not be able to for those songs that are already uploaded and already those YouTube videos. You might have to leave them then just the way they are, share that revenue with them while you have that channel up, and then see, as I was asking you to ask them, can you start with new songs not having that publishing situation with them? But I can't answer anything till they answer the questions.
It's only one song. So out of all the videos,
then just ask them.
Yeah,
I
will.
And maybe you'll have to open a new YouTube channel and get all those people over to the new YouTube channel for more songs. And obviously, if they're already your fans, they'll come to a new channel. They're not going to not support you anymore. Maybe one or two, but you might gain more. So, don't fret so much about this. This is not very important, and especially with only one song. So just get their answers, and it's priceless that you have learned not to do this again. Like,
I know.
There's nothing more valuable than everything that we've learned, and you in the course have learned so many things already about not to do certain things.
Yeah.
Right? But that's awesome because that's like what happened to me, but it took me 42 years. I mean, that's the whole point of learning is just don't do it again. It doesn't kill us. So hopefully all of us are going to have lots of songs and lots of successes. And, we are going to learn from all our mistakes that we've done and not get bogged down, because when you get bogged down on these things, that's when you just stop, right? Your momentum, your whole career just stops, and it makes you so unhappy inside. So don't let it upset you. You'll be able to fix it. I feel good about it. You'll totally be able to.
I feel good about it too. I just want to understand everything. I don't want to be like ignorant anymore. That's why I'm like, okay, I could have written it and just follow verbatim with everything that you told me, but I want to understand. But I'll do it, and then I'll show his response to you, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, that's awesome, because without asking all that, that's why I took the time to formulate those questions, is that we're going to get to what is going to be most optimum for you in this situation. And for everybody else, to help everybody here, don't opt into those YouTube monetization things with CD Baby and TuneCore and DistroKid and all your distributors. Don't opt into it. Do it yourself. Because if not, you're just sharing revenue. They're controlling things, and you really don't need them to do that. So why are they doing it? because they're making more money doing that. It's a business for them, right? I see Ulysses laughing. I love that. So that's why they're doing that. And they're also preying on stupid us not to know to not do that, right? And we're just giving away shares to them and giving away shares to this place and we're just doing stuff when we can easily just do this ourselves. This is not big deal. And Natalia, it's awesome what you're learning. I'm telling you, you are in a lot of situations, unfortunately, but you have learned so much, and they're not going to happen again.
Yes, yes.
That's the most awesome thing ever.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'd rather learn now and don't come back. Yeah.
You won't do it again. It won't happen again. Anything that's happened to you was not going to happen again. And the fact that you're learning and why, that is what is so important. So I'm proud of you for learning and being able to understand what's going on. Just don't get upset. Just write them those questions and we'll keep going.
Yeah. Will do. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Awesome. Bonnie, hey. Oh, you're muted.
Okay, there you go. Hi, how are you?
I'm great, girl. How are you?
Okay, so I have a couple of questions. One is about remixing for sync. So since I have an artist pitching background, I started to get into sync over the pandemic, and I always had instrumentals and full versions. Now I'm backtracking, trying to get all the files, and sometimes they don't have them anymore. So I want to know, how important is it to have all the files when you're pitching to sync?
Okay, so first of all, I totally know that, and I'm in that situation. Larry and I are here baking tapes every Wednesday night from the 1980s and 90s, trying to figure out how can we make some instrumentals, how can we salvage some stems, how can we figure out, because we don't have those either, right? It's very, very important because they do get asked for, especially the instrumental mixes. A lot less get asked for the individual stems and maybe the
Yeah, that's what I'm concerned about. I mean, I know there's that site that does AI and
Audio Shack. Audio Shack is awesome. And I was saying to Larry, probably that's what's going to happen is, I have to go and fork up some money and go do some Audio Shack making, because they do a great job. The only thing is they can't separate the lead vocals from the background vocals. They don't have the technology to do that. They can only give you a vocal stem. That's a little less useful. But eventually, I think they'll be able to, isolate. But Audio Shack is awesome. It's just a little pricey. So what I would suggest is this. If you come across a need for something you don't have, just rush to Audio Shack. You can do it in probably 10 minutes, 15 minutes, have them run, pay for it. And get your instrumental mix and maybe wait to do it. Or if you don't have a huge catalog. So if you have 10 songs, maybe
I do have a huge catalog.
How many songs do you have?
Oh, gosh. Really, really good ones.
That are recorded master quality.
Oh, about over 100.
That's not a big catalog. That's very
well, it's big to me. Yes. I mean, some of them are country, so that's not as useful for sure.
Yeah. So that's a small catalog. So let's say we pick 10 songs from your catalog and you decide these are the songs I'm going to pitch the most. Now you can go and just do it. Just go to Audio Shack, do 10 songs, pay the money, have 10 instrumentals, and you'll be good. You don't need to go do the stems unless you really, really need it and want to pay for it because they're not that often asked for. Now, I recommend now everything you do up front, you have the stems. I do recommend that.
Oh, sure. Now, since I got involved in sync. But
since I'm doing this stuff in my own studio, I can go bother my husband in an instant and go get stems. But if I were doing it in someone else's studio now, I would definitely make sure there was stems.
Oh, yeah. I get every single track.
So again, the learning curve, the learning is worth everything. And then if you then just use Audio Shack, it really is an amazing place. Technology.
Okay, good.
What?
I was concerned that if I pitched something that, if they came back and said, well, we need to hear the stems, and I didn't have stems, that they'd consider me unprofessional if I just had an instrumental mix.
Also, being truthful is the most important thing in life. and you can say to them, let me go to Audio Shack and run these for you.
Okay. Okay, great.
And you can be honest, or just say, let me send you these. Can I send you them tomorrow? And then just go and run them. So
Okay.
I wouldn't worry about them. I don't usually get asked for stems that they're needed this second. Sometimes the instrumental, they need this second.
Yeah, sure.
Yes, but the stems, the only really getting asked for stems for video games and advertisements. Mostly film and TV stuff don't need the stems, don't ask for them. They're just throwing the mixes in if they sound great. They're not. But on video games, they always need stems, and on ads, often.
Oh, okay. Okay. And thank you.
Yeah.
And with CD Baby, okay, so I have a song on CD Baby. A friend released it. I wrote the whole thing. So I own the master. Well, actually, we share the master because he put his vocals on it. And I didn't pay him. And it's his artistic release. So I agreed to share that with him 50-50. But I wrote the whole song and I own all the publishing. So CD Baby, since you've recommended that we move things to DistroKid, if we pull it off of CD Baby.
That wasn't me.
Oh, that wasn't you?
Mm-mm.
Okay. All right. Because CD Baby has that publishing thing with Song Trust.
But you don't have to opt into it. I recommend don't opt into it. DistroKid also has a song publishing entity. Or they all pretty much do. Just don't opt into them. Yeah.
Oh,
that's what
I could just have the MLC collecting that for me, and that'll be that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So no, I don't recommend one over the other. I actually use TuneCore. I used United Masters. I thought that was not good. I think they're all the same. I actually use a company in China called Kanjian that I like a lot for distribution. But they all do the same thing. Just don't opt into their publishing administration. And definitely don't use SongTrust. The SongTrust is bad.
Right. I want you to know that they were at the Sync Summit, and I actually wrote her a note, whoever the lady was, I forget her name, about how, a lot of supervisors are saying SongTrust is an impediment and blah, blah, blah. And she never heard that. And I said, well, you need to get on one of these summit things and to address this in a panel, because we're being told by multiple sources not to use you because it hinders our sync. And
well, I was on that Sync Summit panel, and I was at that Sync Summit panel, and the person who was there knew nothing about sync and knew nothing about what SongTrust did. And people were asking that question, but she could not answer the question because she didn't know the answers and know anything about it. And in the chat was going crazy about that question, and she doesn't know. So there's another big issue, is that if you sign with a company and they don't even know what's going on and they don't know the situation, this is not good.
No, and how are they going to explain it to you when you have questions? It's crazy. It's
Yeah. And I find I was once on a webinar that SongTrust gave, and the person who was giving it had only worked at SongTrust for 2 months, and before then was a waiter and knew nothing about. And I wrote him and LinkedIn, connected with him, and told him everything he said that was incorrect, and he had no clue. And I don't understand how they allowed that person to be giving training webinars when he had no experience.
Yeah.
So these are important things for us to look at and think about, and we definitely don't want to use SongTrust. And once again, even if we have 100 songs, right?
Shake, yeah.
We can register those songs ourselves at 100 songs. We can
absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Need them, SongTrust or CD Baby Pro or DistroKid's Pro Service, to be taking money, percentages from our money, just to register the songs.
Right. And if I were to put a song that I co-wrote on the MLC, let's say we share publishing, can I write for them too, or do they have to write their own 50%?
I don't understand that question.
Let's say I have a co-writer, and I'm going to register my publishing on the song with the MLC.
Got it.
Do they then have to do it for themselves, or can I do it for them?
No, the MLC, they have to do it themselves. Yes.
Okay.
But it doesn't affect your share at the MLC. It just doesn't reconcile to 100%, but it doesn't affect your share. Everybody at the MLC has to register their share themselves.
Okay.
At the PROs, if you're at the same PRO, only one person, right? But like here, Larry and I, we write together. He's BMI, I'm CSAC. Laura's ASCAP, I'm CSAC. So our registrations don't help each other. We all have to register the songs ourselves, right?
Okay.
But if in the days when Larry and I were both at BMI, then only one of us had to register the song, and it populated for all the BMI writers. So it's the same, but the MLC only makes every separate publisher, right, or self-administrated songwriter have to register themselves.
But if it doesn't populate between PROs, I've seen like one co-writer I have is with BMI, and it'll give an ISRC code, and ASCAP will give a different one.
Well, BMI does not give ISRC codes at all, and they have no use for ISRC codes. They give ISWC codes.
That's what I meant, ISWC, I'm sorry.
And there should never be a different work code for the same composition. So if you see that, you need to alert them.
Correct it. Okay, got it.
That usually does not happen. Usually it's the same ISWC code. And again, they don't care about ISRCs because they're not paying sound.
Right, I meant ISWC, yeah.
Okay. And also know, everybody, another reason why you need to have a publishing company is because the MLC, the Music Licensing Collective, which is only for digital streaming mechanicals in the US, that's all it pays, but you need to join or you won't get those, is that it's the only place where you can register your songs as a self-administrated songwriter without a publishing company. But Harry Fox, for physical sales, you know, CDs, downloads, it's cassettes, vinyl, you cannot be a member if you don't have a publishing company. Only publishers can be members. Music reports, same thing. Only publishers can sign up. Okay, the National Music Publishers Association, which also pays out some dividends, only publishers can sign up. It's imperative to have a publishing company so that you can operate in this real world. Yeah, the MLC is the only place where you don't have to, but of course the MLC we're making pennies from because it's streaming mechanicals where the money is tiny, micro pennies. But still, we want to get our micro pennies. I mean, I don't want to leave mine on the table and not be getting them. But just know that having a publishing company is imperative. And yes, everybody has to do it for their own company. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for everything.
My question is so important. Steve.
How do I get rid of this hand? Lower the hand.
It says lower hand. Yeah, there you go. Awesome. And if some people are writing things in the chat, come and talk to us about it, you know, so we all can benefit. But Steve, do you have a question? No, you have your hand up, but I see no you. Okay. So Stephanie, and then we'll go to Cass.
I just thought of another question. So when you have how big should your catalog be before you start approaching people to possibly get your music placed with them?
Okay, so I do have a feeling about that. But again, you can start with one song, but the problem is if they love it, then you're not of any service to them when they want more songs. And then, right, you go, oh, that's the only one I have that was really master quality, pitch ready. So I suggest if one is an artist, they should have a 10-song album.
Okay.
Either released or not released, but 10 songs. That's a really nice thing. Maybe 5, maybe an EP, but 10 songs is really awesome. If one is a songwriter like me, I suggest 25 songs. Because like I have a friend, she's an artist and gets gazillions of placements. So every few years she puts out a 10-song album and she'll get 800 placements, right? From 10 songs. Me, I have like over 1,000 songs in the catalog I own, and I can get 800 placements from 1,000 songs. It's not as useful because I'm a songwriter and I'm not representing myself as an artist. It's easier if you're representing yourself as an artist and you need less songs. As a songwriter, you really want to be of service with a lot of music, because sometimes a music supervisor will come to me and they'll say, I need songs for this, don't send me 10 songs. Send me 100 songs. Send me 300 songs. Send me everything you have. Yeah, it's happened to me many times, you know, where they really want a go-to. They know, okay, my ducks are in a row. My songs are cleared. Just send me a lot of songs. I need a lot of songs. So I really recommend everybody create and build their catalog of master quality sounding great music to be of service, because they're not serving us, we're serving them. And creating the songs is the most fun part, right? So, so just, dig deep, right? Get down and make yourself a nice catalog of music. And then that sounds amazing and is already recorded and ready to go and all the paperwork in order. And then when you get the opportunity to pitch, oh my God, what a service you are to them. How excited are they? They love your music. And now you have more music for them. Oh my goodness. Right?
Yeah. That's really helpful.
So it's just something to think about. You could pitch one song, but again, oh, I have nothing else. Oh, well, that's not useful. So, yeah, really good question. I agree. So, Cass, nice to have you here. Hi.
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 Thanks for fabulous information.
You're welcome. Thanks for being here.
I just wanted to know. I've got to remember my question now. Oh, I know. So you're talking about needing to be a publisher to join those associations. What about for internationals? Because in Australia we don't need a publishing company. We just we just have one IPI.
Maybe you missed that. You need.
Oh, I missed it.
Yeah, you need publishing company to do sync. So you as an Australian national need one. Join BMI, join ASCAP as a publisher, because you cannot pitch your songs to U.S. music supervisors without a publishing company. Libraries as well. Yeah, and they don't care that you're an Australian national. You don't have a publishing company. And that makes you unprofessional to them.
Well, I've spoken to my PRO, which is APRA, and they said to just put down the same IPI and their name as well for the publishing company. I have had some placements with US agents.
Did they take the publishing or did you keep the publishing?
No, I kept the publishing. I just write the same PRO. But I was just wondering, is there any benefit to joining a US PRO as a publisher?
Well, I have mostly seen that the music supervisors don't want to work with people who don't have proper publishing companies. If you have gotten around that, there are exceptions to every rule. And I would have to ask you, what are the placements? Who are the music supervisors? Because it's very rare that you can.
Really? Wow.
IPI number. You have to have separate IPIs, separate publishing company. Can't be Cass Eager for your writer's share and Cass Eager for your publishing. So I have not seen that, and I've only seen that be not good, and that publishing company is desperately needed. If you are working around the system, then something has been happy for you. That's all I can tell you. It's very rare. And
that's interesting. Okay, great. I might check in with the agent that's got me the most placements and just make sure that it's cool. If
the sync agent is getting the placements, that's a different story because you are not pitching directly.
Yeah.
That's a different story too. If the sync agent is representing you and the sync agent is is the sync agent taking a piece of the publishing or just taking an upfront fee?
No, just upfront fee.
Then maybe because he's the sync agent, it's working for him. But if you were pitching directly, that wouldn't work for you.
I do want to start pitching directly, so that's great info. So start one with. Can I just ask why you said BMI is better than ASCAP if I have to choose one?
Oh yes, God, Larry and I had my partner recently. This is an hour-long conversation.
Oh, okay.
Let me just say briefly, BMI pays better than ASCAP. BMI pays vocals 10 times more than ASCAP. So if we are operating in the world of vocal music, we want to not be at ASCAP. They have a situation of weights, W-E-I-G-H-T, the way they weight the songs. They pay instrumentals the same as vocal music, which for everyone to know, in most necks of the woods in the world, that's common. But in America, that is not common. BMI, CSAC, GMR all pay more for vocal music, 10 times more for a vocal placement than for a piece of background instrumental music. Through ASCAP, that's one way you're losing money. With ASCAP as well, if you write a theme song of a TV show and it's the opening theme and the closing theme, they only pay it once. BMI and CSAC pay each separately. Also, if you have the bumpers in the TV show before the commercials, that's all lumped into one little payment at ASCAP, whereas at BMI and CSAC, those are all paid separately as separate uses. In addition, at ASCAP, if you have a song and it's the theme of a character, let's say, or it's in a TV show and it's in a dance club and they keep cutting back to that dance club and they play the song 6 times in the episode, at BMI and CSAC, that pays individually every single use, but at ASCAP, only the first use pays at 100%, and all the subsequent uses pay at 10%.
Wow.
So that's a huge issue. Also, ASCAP still works on a situation of sampling, where they're sampling 8-hour-day samples of the radio, of TV, and if your song doesn't fall into the sample of the stations that and networks that they sampled, you might not get paid. And there's so many issues of things of that nature that is why one does not, in my opinion, who writes vocal music want to be at ASCAP. And when I was at ASCAP, which was only for 1 year, the reason why I know all this is because this happened for me. And I was losing money because I was working on a soap opera every day on CBS where I would have a song that was used and then it would use 10 times in the episode, and I was getting paid 10% for every other use, and I was losing a fortune. And the same thing happened with the theme song and with the title of movie of the film. The same thing if you have the opening title and the end title, or let's say you have a character theme in a film, every subsequent use pays at 10% at ASCAP. It's a mess. And the radio, they do a sample as well. So if you're writing songs and it's on terrestrial radio, on AM, FM radio, they take a sample of the day's sample. They're not paying 24/7 on the playlist. And there are more things too, but that's the basic problem with ASCAP. And just about a month and a half ago, I asked the head of film and TV, is this still happening? And he said yes. So I didn't want to keep perpetuating information that maybe had changed, because at one point, maybe 25 years ago, ASCAP did start paying the vocals at a higher rate, but it lasted a very short period of time. And they went back to paying them as instrumental, right? And to all of us here who write vocal music, we all know that writing a piece of vocal music and producing a vocal with an uppity singer and trying to get it tuned in time and make it all fabulous and mix it is a lot harder and more time consuming than making a 30-second instrumental cue.
Yeah.
Yet ASCAP is paying it at the same rate.
Wow, it's amazing they can get away with that.
They can do anything they want, really.
Yeah.
So,
one quick last question, and this may just be, again, sort of like on a personal case-to-case basis, but do you, like, if I am writing songs with someone and they have said, okay, you pitch them, I'm happy for you to pitch, so I'm spending my days pitching the songs, like, do you have any arrangement where you sort of like take a small percentage of more of the song, because you're sort of acting like a licensing agent rather than just because I've been sort of splitting it at this point, but then someone said to me, who is a new co-writer I'm working with, oh, you should be taking a percentage because you're the one working them like an agent would, so I want you to sort of, and it had never struck me before, and I'm like, oh, well, that would be good, but I don't know if that's like common practice, or is that weird, or is that a good thing to do? I don't know what your advice would be on that.
I see my co-writer perked up. No, I don't do that. I believe in that. I teach my students not to do that. I don't think that's okay. I happen to be good at it. That's just the dealio. That's what I bring to the table. A lot of people want to write with me maybe because they pitch and place the songs. Maybe I
All
would
right.
give value to them in another way. Maybe I'm not the best writer. I don't know. So
No.
I don't.
It's only if they're off working $100,000 job and all you're doing is spending your hours working on this. You know what I mean? So they're getting the exact same benefit from you as well as their income.
They are. It's true. And I have probably gotten 95% of the placements for anyone I've co-written with. And so, but I don't believe that. I believe it's just something I do, part of my whatever, and I don't take extra shares for them and I split. No. I mean,
And
there's
she writes very well. She's a great writer, by the way.
Thank you, dear Larry. Thank you. And you are. I love writing with you. But yeah, no, I don't take a commission, like a finder's fee ever. And maybe I'm an idiot. Maybe I should, but I don't want to start doing that, no. But
Yeah, I get it.
I mean, like, I'm not saying that I'm judging, I just don't do that.
No, it wasn't even me that came up with it. It was her sort of saying, well, hang on a minute. If you're going to be spending your hours and your working hours pitching these songs as a job, then, so I thought, oh, yeah, that's interesting. I'd never really come across whether that's a thing or not. But funny, like someone asked me if I had any songs, a licensing agent said, do you have any songs like this? And I said, well, I don't, but I have a friend that does. And then, and then he said that to me as well. He's like, well, if you get me this thing, like, I'm happy to pay you commission. And I'm like, oh, cool. Like, you know what I mean? Sort of acting as an interim. So it's come up a couple of times.
Yeah, see, I think that's just fun. Like, I have a student, I think she had to leave before, but I have a student who took my course and has managed to get placements everywhere. Like, she has really been the one who has just learned how to do everything. And there have been times when I've said, here, you can pitch this for that, and I have a lot more songs than she does, but she's really good at it. I say, sure, and I'm going to commission her, if she gets the placement. For sure. Like, I would do that. I don't pitch songs for other people because I can't take it. Like, if the songs get rejected and they're my songs, I have thick skin and it doesn't bother me. But if, like, I'm representing you and the song gets rejected, the pain that it causes me is too great. So I just don't do that. But if I were to do it, then I would expect a commission for that. Sure, because it's not my song. I'm not going to get any royalties on it. It's not my song. So then I think it's totally fine for you to, for sure, do that, and if you can stomach it, like most people can, I'm just weird in that way, then I would do it. Yeah, for sure. It's so nice to do that.
Okay. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And thanks for taking so many hours of your time on this. It's been fabulous. Thank you.
You're welcome. I like doing this. It's super fun for me. And again, it is promotion, hoping that, somebody hops on my course, which would be really nice. And even if they don't, I don't care. It's fine. I only want people to take the course who are ready, who want to do it, like my students who have and are doing so well. Because if you take it and you don't work it, it doesn't, but that's, and I do this once a month. And again, I do let other people from the outside do it. It's free for my students, but it's only $47 for people from the outside to come to the Q&A. So, Luis, question.
Yes. Well, now to question. This next course will be presential or this gonna be recorded? Because last time you say maybe this year gonna be recorded, and not every time I have internet access, so that's why I'm interested in
Luis, this course is recorded. Exactly. So exactly what I told you before. So I gave this course live to a group of students, and now it's finished, and it's all recorded and all ready to go. And one can watch it anytime they want. The Q&A will still be live. And the emails every day, you can send me emails, that's live. But the course itself and all the lectures and all the information and all the documents, Natalia, who's here, she jumped on the course very late when it was live. And she's taking it herself at her own pace, at her own time, and then coming to writing me emails, asking me questions. So that is how it is now. Exactly, Luis. It's all ready to go, but I filmed it in front of a real class because I didn't want to sit here making modules, talking to myself into the internet without anybody there, because that's not who I am. It's a lot of people do that, but it felt so weird to me to just be making a course and talking to the computer. So I filmed it in front of a class. Yes.
Great, thank you. But my original question was another one. I was attending to the Springboard boot camp with Barry Coffin.
Yeah.
So I signed with his library, music supervisors, in a non-exclusive way. So I'm looking forward to send them some music. But at the same time, I have a question. What's the difference with this kind of libraries, non-exclusive libraries, with those royalty-free stock libraries? What's the difference with that? Because they offer also non-exclusive contracts. So can you tell me a little bit of that, please?
For sure. And first of all, I love musicsupervisor.com. In fact, we just had a meeting this afternoon, earlier on today, and that's
today. Really, I didn't know.
Yeah, just right before my Q&A, Barry had a little musicsupervisor.com, a special meeting. So
okay.
So musicsupervisor.com for everybody here is a really great library. They don't take any royalties at that library, which is unusual. They just are working almost like sync agents, taking a share of the upfront fee. The only problem with musicsupervisor.com is the metadata to upload the song is so exhausting that I can't even upload anything half the time because I don't have enough time to do it. So you really have to have time to upload your music to the site, but it's a fantastic library. I really do recommend it. It's really a great, Barry's wonderful. And as for royalty-free type stock music, royalty-free gets a bad rep in some ways. There's like two versions of royalty-free music. One is actually like a library like Epidemic Sound in particular that you really never want to work with because they bypass PROs and they're dumbing down the whole system. And basically it's terrible for songwriters. You're not allowed to have a PRO to work with that royalty-free company. What they do is they pay you to make music, very small amounts, and then they own the music completely, and there are no royalties paid out, and that's why it's royalty-free, because they don't have any royalty system in place. They're making all their money by buyouts, by having the companies pay them X amount a year to use all the music that's in their catalog, and they're making a fortune, but at the expense of the whole songwriter system. Now, if you're a songwriter who wants to work that way, then I'm not in any position to tell you not to do that. You'd have to resign from BMI or ASCAP or CSAC or APRA or wherever you are, and you can do that. But I think it ruins the whole system of songwriting, dumbs down everything, and is not good. And there are other companies that do that. But Epidemic Sound is the biggest player in that royalty-free world. The other type of royalty-free music I love, and I actually do. And what it is there are libraries that have music that you can supply to them non-exclusively, as Luis is saying, and they are really there to service moms and pops and grandmas, people making videos for their wedding, people making a special birthday video for their grandma and using your song, that kind of a thing. And so what happens is they put your songs in their library, and then every time the song is used, there's a fee paid. But the people who pay the fees don't pay royalties, which is why it's royalty-free, because a grandma would never know how to pay royalties. So the grandma is maybe licensing the song for $50 or $100, and then the music company is taking a share, and then they're giving you a share. So you kind of do get a royalty because they are accounting to you quarterly, most of them, and they're sending you your share of what was made with that little, what's called a micro license. You've heard of the term micro license. And so they're paying you a share. So even though it's called royalty free, it's royalty free for the purchaser, but it's not royalty free for the creator because we are getting money for every use, right? Like I used the one not too long ago called Tune Fruit, Fruit, because I was working on a piece of music for a game, and there was a stripper music piece that they wanted. And I kept trying to create it and create it and create it. And I must have made 50 pieces of 4-second stripper music, and they didn't like any of it. They were stuck on this one piece they heard at Tune Fruit. So I had to pay $500 because that was a big license because it was being used in commercial purposes and ads rather than grandma's video. So what happened is I paid the $500 and that company kept however much they kept. I hope it was half, not more, but it might have been they kept $400. But they paid the rest of it to the creator for the royalty, but I didn't have to pay royalties anymore. And the company I was working for, creating the ad, didn't have to pay royalties for it anymore. It was a one-time fee that I had to pay. Does that make sense?
Yes, thank you. I have heard about Pond 5 or Out the Jungle. I want to check out.
Well, Pond 5 to me is horrible because they were, and it could be even less now, we're working 65-35. So they were only giving the creators 35% and keeping like 65. So I don't like Pond 5 because of that. I think the share that they're taking is too much. But again, it is not my place to decide what people should do with their songs and their catalogs. And if you want to do it, it's non-exclusive, do it. See what happens. Know what I mean?
Cool. Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome, for sure. I mean, maybe 35 is better than nothing. So, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, really, could be, I don't like to do things too much like that because I feel like I'm contributing to the problem with songwriter issues. And I go to Congress and lobby Congress, and I've been on the American Capitol Hill many times with the senators and the congressmen explaining the plight of songwriters. And I feel if I do something like that, then they can just say, well, you're doing that. If you're doing that, why do we want to help you? Like if you're dumbing down the whole situation. So also I have friends who not friends, but co-writers or colleagues who charge for songwriting. Now, I don't believe in that either because I can't figure out who's more important in the equation. Is it me because I have all these decades of experience, or is it somebody new who's fresh and interesting and cool and maybe 14 and has all? I think we're equal in the situation, and I don't understand who pays who. But there are people who pay a lot, who advertise. And like one person in particular, and he advertises co-writes at $1,200 a piece. Well, then what am I saying to the senators and the Republicans when I'm saying, yeah, I worked today and I made $1,200 writing a song, and them saying to me, we don't make $1,200 a day. Why should we help you? Right? Why should we help you? I wish I could make $1,200 a day. So I don't believe in these things because they ruin it for all of us. And at this point in my life and career, and that I've gotten old, I'm more concerned with helping the situation than what's only for me. But if people want to do that, I mean, I think it's fine to charge for classes. I think it's fine to charge as a guitar player. It's fine to charge as a singer. So maybe it's okay to charge as a songwriter, but it's never been that a co-writer charges another co-writer in my time. And you know what I mean? But we have to
Absolutely, yeah.
We have to decide for ourselves, like what is good for us, and what works. Yeah, so that's how I feel about Pond 5. They're a little not balanced.
Great, thank you so much.
You're welcome. It's great questions you've had. I really like that. So, all right. Well, I don't see any more questions, and I do thank you all for hanging in here. I thank you all for listening. I thank my darling partner, Larry, for being here. That's really special. And now we're going to work later. And oh my God, I know. And I, again, I watched the replay. There's a lot of information here today for sure. And if you want to take the course, come ask me about it. You'll, of course, get more information about it in emails. If you sign up by tonight at midnight, there are some added perks because Brianna, who was with us earlier, insisted on that and tries to train me to do all these things that I don't do. So that's all I can say. And also I'll be announcing soon, somebody who was here before had asked me about doing a listening session. And I think I'm going to do one soon. It'll also be free as part of promoting my course to do a listening session, and people can bring a song. So you'll hear about that in a little while. And Natalia, do you have a question quick before we go?
Really quickly, yeah. So we can participate in Q&A for this ongoing course, right?
Of course, yes. If you're in the course, it's free, and you can always come to Q&A. Yes, and for sure, definitely Natalia is taking the course. So, and Natalia is a prime example of she's learned so much in a short time because she was making a lot of mistakes that now she will never make again. This will never happen to her again. And sadly, she had songs that got encumbered that she really can't pitch now. And I have one student who, well, Shake, the one who's doing the best really pitching, she had like 150 songs that are useless because her co-writer is difficult, won't sign any paperwork, won't sign any split sheets, won't, make it worthwhile for her. And she can't use the songs. She had to start completely and she tells her age, so it's nothing behind her back. She's 67 years old and she's had to start all from Marie, all from scratch. She has a new catalog and she's gotten all these huge placements. She has one Christmas song that's been like the opening of 4 movies, and she's pitched them herself. She even gets on the telephone and calls those people. And it just shows you, look, if she can do it, we all can do it because it's all possible. But she knows everything. And when she started the course, she knew nothing. She didn't know what a writer's share was. She didn't know what a publisher's share was. She didn't know how to register her songs. She didn't know anything. And so that's what, like Natalia, I'm so proud of you for learning everything. Yeah. Yeah. So everybody, thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate it. Thank you for I hope it was so helpful. And I hope I see you soon. Bye.
Thanks, Michelle.
You're welcome. Thank you. And don't forget to save the chat if you want it.
Thank you, Michelle. Have a good
Thanks.
night.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
I'll give you a minute to save the chat if there's anything in there you wanted. People were leaving links and things. Okay. Bye.